Live from the studios of Freedom's Phoenix, Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here! Let us make them remember. We are not afraid!
Randy of Tone Vase, Davy Barker, and Ernest Hancock, and we'll, try not to yell today. The one thing that definitely we fleshed out is, man, we each got our opinion about. And last night we continued conversation, hanging out, doing some work, watching some Orville, and kind of, I got to ask him, but I'm sure we'll get into it, but all right, he has his opinion and I have the right one. And then, so the thing is, which mic are you on there?
Yeah, which one am I on?
There you go. Dobby,
good morning. Hello.
Morning. Yeah, there you go. Okay. What I want to do is get into some news. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. And one of the things is Tim Pachote, the Liberty Advisor, is our local Scottsdale, he's in Northwest Phoenix now, but he, a financial advisor, got it going on, younger guy in his 30s. He's an Ironman triathlete. The guy's, got a beautiful wife, 2 little girls, and a life. And what happens is he goes, this crypto thing, it's not just, crypto as being part of a retirement plan. It's understanding how they, them, those are able to do generational wealth and not pay taxes on gains on things like crypto. What happens if you want to go all legit, and you got a $100 crypto that's now 20,000, and you bought a bunch, and you're going, man, this sucks. I can't. What the hell can I do now? Well, come to find out, a lot of the guys in the space, are doing exactly.
What sucks? I don't get it.
You got to pay a bunch of taxes to the man.
Right. Why?
Because you bought it on Coinbase.
That's one problem. So I never advise people to buy on Coinbase for what this is one of the reasons. But yes, that's an issue especially if you live in a state like New York or California.
Well, this is going. Why there? Because the state more.
The taxes are insane.
Yeah. So what happens is he came up with a plan, saw what he needed to do, knew it was good, because the main criteria, I go, I'm not even interested. I'm not going to help promote or anything if I don't get to keep the private keys. I don't have control of private keys. You're just la, I don't care. Okay, not interested. Well, there was someone or a group that had started doing this or promising this or whatever, and they were charging 13, 15% of the principal at the beginning. And I'm going, holy crap. There's a benefit of first to market. So he's like, no, that's just ridiculous, man. So he came up with a program, working it through, going through the regulatory, whatever. He had a Series 7 trading license and so on, which is, Tone probably knows more about it because crap on that crap. But so he has, he's, managing people to some big money. And then they go, no, you're not allowed to have crypto. They started coming out. No financial advisors be able to have crypto, talk about crypto, mine crypto, speak on crypto, anything, because we're going to do it later, and we'll benefit with the inside guys. Same kind of crap same freaking kind of crap going on in the financial industry. Tone, don't tell me it wasn't. So now he goes, no, screw you. And Jeff Berwick, I hooked him up with him, and they were talking, yakking, and Jeff invites him after he does a show with him. You need to come down to Dollar Vigilante and do a presentation last year. So he and I roomed together last year. We're going to room again together this year. Yeah, I got a PayPal. Somebody sent me another $50 to make sure make my plane ticket, go down there. But I wasn't going to go. It's just, Donna's like, yeah, you're going to get beach massages and, hang out with Tone and beating somebody. Are you going this year?
I'm not.
Yeah, Tone and I, we hung, man. We're out there just enjoying.
We definitely get massages at the beach a couple of years ago. I remember that.
Yeah, no. It's they're getting it more expensive now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they know they're more good.
How is that? How is this not just an open First Amendment violation to say that you're not allowed to talk about something?
Yeah, you can fight that in court while you don't have your license. This.
So it's the license. The license means you're
Yeah.
not allowed to
Yeah,
talk
because
about
he's a licensed financial advisor. So
it. Is he allowed to tell people he's not allowed to talk about it, or is that talking about it?
That's
That's Patriot Act stuff.
That one is
And you're
always
not
an
allowed to
interesting
tell
one.
people.
That one is always an interesting one. Like, you're not allowed to tell people. You're not allowed to talk about something.
So what he did is he's like, screw you. I see this as the future. Now this caused problems with his family and in-laws, and you're just being a moron. Giving up this cushy future of whatever to go and save people when you should just be making bank on the system that happens to be the system that's there for the system. And so he just being a moral guy, he goes, no, I'm not playing this game. And I understand, because worry to me is it's a sign that I need to do something. Worry is just, you can't sleep. You're thinking about something. It's flipping in your mind. You just got a bad EBGBs of it. It's just not good for your health. And then, some people just plow through that and they do it anyway. And the wife's happy and she got her outie. But I'm just going, nah, that was never me. And some other people, there are times in your life you make these kinds of decisions. Which way I'm going to go, left or right? Well, if you go to the right side, or the correct side, say right now, you go correct, you chose wisely, you take some chances. Well, he had to pay $17,000 to get out of that licensing thing and find a fee or whatever. $17,000 out of his pocket so he could go to Mexico and pay his own way, to go down there and tell people what was coming. Then it's rocking and rolling. It's a year later, and now he's into it, man. Here we go. So he's going again and saying, you need some financial planning, some crypto guys that know, because in the future, it's just like if you're a rancher that has, thousands of acres in Montana or whatever, and you give it to your kids, and then all of a sudden it shoots up in value or whatever. Where's the capital gains, and how do you do? Well, here you have Zuckerberg and Soros and all these guys. Oh, because we love humanity so much, we gave all our money to charity of blah, blah. BS.
Man, let that sink in. If you think this is a free market, your financial advisor is not allowed to tell you the thing that made the most gains in the last decade. Not allowed to mention it to you.
Not allowed to not allowed to do it, not allowed to have it, not allowed to have miners, not allowed. But within less than a year after he started doing it, the very regulatory group or whatever the heck it is that controls this, they got some guy explains how they did it. They're starting to do it. They had their own little program, their own little thing that they were doing.
Yeah.
It wasn't that you couldn't do it. You just had to do it the way they wanted through them and compliance. And that's where Tone comes in. Compliance. You think these financial regulators, they got to be all compliant and we need licensing of compliance? Tone.
I'm actually looking it up. I'm kind of curious on this, but
LibertyAdvisor.com.
I can debate the other side.
Of course you can.
I can debate the
That's
other
why
side.
I brought it up.
What's the other side?
Look, Tim wants to interview you. So he's going to try and do that, today, tomorrow, whatever. Get on Mr. Tone Vase. Let's talk about it. From a guy that knows what you do.
I think.
So you still have this license?
Oh, God, I never had this license.
Oh, okay.
No, you're a financial guy, Wall Street, trading,
right.
Do it. You know the guys that do have the license.
I actually don't like financial advisors. There are people that are telling you how to invest your money. You should take the education and learn how to invest your own money.
Which Tone has a class on that very thing.
Correct.
That you pay a bunch of money for him to teach you how everything that you go and experience in decades, where he can teach you in half a day.
Well, it's just like we were talking about physicians. The physician's job should be to impart the knowledge, not to make the decision.
All right. Yeah, no.
We'll talk
but I
after the
need
break.
somebody with me. I don't want to go to a half-a-day seminar from some physician and then I heal myself for the rest of my life. I might need some help. Well, Tone's going to tell us about what he does, and then there'll be an interesting conversation between you and Ted. We'll be right back.
From the sixth letter of Captain Marvel. A pirate's life is characterized by voluntary interaction. Fortunately, the Crown presses everyone into involuntary servitude. Landlubbers believe slavery was abolished years ago.
Yeah, I'd love to talk to him. I want to know more details about how
Let this
that went
commercial
down.
go into your
Sufficient
thing.
ambition, you would gladly draft thousands of hapless victims to kill or be killed. It's simply slavery by another name. Landlubbers are routinely commanded to serve the so-called justice system in jury duty. But before you swell with civic pride, consider that how you feel is irrelevant to the Crown. You will appear as ordered or face punitive measures. The Crown insists that you participate in your own oppression. A jury summons provides pirates with a unique opportunity to obstruct injustices. A juror can vote not guilty, even if it's proven the law was violated. A juror can acquit for any reason at all, and not even a judge can reverse that verdict. Receiving a jury summons is basically winning the sedition lottery. But if you reveal that you know this during jury selection, you'll probably be dismissed. If the Crown foolishly crimps a pirate into jury duty, it behooves the pirate to conceal their intention to nullify unjust laws. If a master takes 100% of your labor, it's called slavery. But if they only take 50%, they call it taxation. A difference of degree, not of kind. Whether the Crown claims a fortune or a cent is irrelevant. Most of all, a slave owner desires contented slaves, meaning thoughtless ones that accept their bondage. These house slaves see no contradiction in being drafted in a war to end slavery or summoned to a jury to prosecute tax evasion. An ideal slave knows no higher call than the master's will. The Crown's highest ambition is that its slaves revere the authority that subjugates them. But the Crown does not own me. I will not surrender my time and treasure to the Crown's ambitions. Join the conversation at pirateswithoutborders.com.
What do you shop?
Okay, they're going to have to. I can't have this up really high
Oh, yeah,
while
that's
he's
fine.
talking. It does. It messes up the
No, that's fine.
microphone.
Only like so, just to avoid dead air. So when that's not high, we should be talking.
This ain't your show. You know, I'm not doing this for you, man. I mean, you want to do that, fine, but I'm not changing every. Seriously. Have him. You could run the audio through a jack on the mixer.
It's fine. No, but when that's up high, then we will listen to that. When it's low, we can speak, right?
Yeah, but then I'm mixing your freaking show because I can't have this high because it goes through his mic when he talks. I go, something was wrong. It's because that was too loud.
No, I only wanted it high for the intro, so that the intro comes
I know.
through my,
Well, I'm just saying we'll keep
after
it
that.
down
After that, I don't
they,
care.
Yeah, they can hear
No,
us. Whatever.
After that, I don't care about the speaker. I just wanted the intro. Don't you want your intro in my show?
Absolutely. But I'm just saying I can't keep that up all the time.
Oh, I don't care now.
All right.
Unless you want your commercials in my show.
That one I did.
Okay. Yeah. So anytime you want a commercial in my show, turn that up.
So my thing is that, if you just took your feed and just plugged it into the board, problem solved. And it'd sound a lot better.
Yeah, that's true. But I don't have cords.
I got cables coming out my ass.
Yeah, I know that.
How much time I got? Yeah, I got
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Just show me what's the feed.
No, don't worry about it. I have just a regular line in, but don't worry about it. It's fine.
I got the cord. I just plug that in right there. Done. Matter of fact, I even got the cords laying down over there probably.
Next break. We'll check it out.
There you go.
Let me see. Maybe we'll improve the audio. Let me check this out.
See if that's going in.
No, I don't see any.
Okay.
Well, maybe. Yeah, something's coming through.
All right, we're doing some
Oh yeah, it's good.
audio for him. You got it? Now that sounds a lot better, right?
I think so. I'm not live streaming. I'm just locally recording. We'll find out later.
All right,
I
there you go.
think it's better.
Yeah, of course
Should
it
be better.
is. You get these freaking mics all over the plate, and I gotta have the whatever. I want to just.
I don't
Are
know.
you the
I
audio
guess
guy? Are you? I don't think so. All right. So we'll go ahead and Tone's recording this for his show also, and we were talking about doing another show with Tim Pachote. Definitely wants to talk to you about, I don't know what he wants to talk to you. And, so what I want to do is when you give him your view on this financial planning thing. Of course, on his financial planner show, you go, yeah, I hate all you guys. You know what your people should do? Screw you and come to my,
well, not
teach you how
that's
to do
the
it
thing.
thing.
Like generalizing is hard. Like in my experience, speaking with most financial advisors, they don't know anything. They literally take a percentage to just tell you what they read in the book. And
Bitcoin, everything's scam coins.
and
You're
they-
not just doing Bitcoin, you're scam.
well, that's the thing, right? Like the first question I'm gonna ask him is, he went to an Acapulco. What did he talk about? Did he I'm dealing with this problem with some of the other people that came into the crypto space, like a couple of years ago. They're like, oh my God, this is amazing. They started advising people because they had very high profiles on CNBC and whatnot. They started advising people on cryptos, let's say in the top 10, top 20. And I'm saying that's a mistake because it should only be advising people about Bitcoin. And then they got away with advising in the top 10, top 20. And it's like, I found a gem. I found a secret altcoin. It is worth 20 cents. It is going up to 50 cents and $1. It's going to take over the world. It's worth 20 cents now. Advised it to all of his subscribers, hundreds of them. The token is now worth half a penny. And that person is in serious trouble, reputationally, legally, and he's not like a licensed financial advisor. And what happens is when you have a licensing situation, like a licensed entity that gives this person credibility of being a financial advisor, we can debate whether that entity should or shouldn't exist, okay? Now, right, I know you say it shouldn't exist, but it is debatable.
It doesn't matter.
But here's the
I'm
thing.
saying if the crown's little thing on
No,
the
but
sticker
Ernie,
on the wall.
but
says
Ernie,
that's it.
Ernie,
Yeah.
but here's how it matters, right? Because the entity exists, and this person was using that entity to build up his reputation that he's licensed.
Did he fill out, the forms?
He
Did
did.
Take the class?
He did.
Get certified and
He did.
What they told him he had to remember of some
He did.
memorization of
He
what-
had to.
All
He
right,
had to.
boom.
If he had to pay to get out of it, that means he had to pay to
No,
get
I mean,
into it.
even your guys, anybody you go with, whether they're legit or not. Well, what's legit?
No, but
Because
Ernie.
the crown gave
I
him
know,
a piece
but
of
but
paper?
Ernie, but wait a minute.
Hell, he gave up that piece of paper.
He gave it
to
up.
be able to
But
tell
before he gave it up, he voluntarily went
was
into it.
extorted to get into it.
No, not
I'm sorry,
necessarily.
what'd you say?
He was extorted to get into it.
No one forced him to be a financial advisor.
No, but he should be free to be a financial advisor. And they said, no, you're not allowed to do that unless you pay us.
Oh, and you.
Well,
do
no.
and you can't.
Wait a
talk
minute.
about crypto.
Wait a minute.
No, this is what
No.
they said.
Wait, let's
Can't
back
talk-
up.
let-
Let's
yeah,
back up.
don't make
Let's
me
back
do
up.
that.
Let's back up.
Push the button.
Driver's license is
You
not
can't
voluntary.
have talk about it. You can't teach it. You can't recommend it. You can't even mine it, and you can't go anywhere. Tim Pachote went to Acapulco last year in the Dollar Vigilante group after interviewed by Berwick. Hey, you need to come down, and he goes down there to do that. They said, no, you can't go. He had to drop his Series 7 license. You tell me what that means. And pay, I think it was like $16,000, $17,000 for him to get out of this. So he could, even include crypto as a, he's not, it's like gold. It's a piece of kind of something, maybe of whatever. It's a strategy. Mostly the reason how this came up is that people that over a year ago made boatloads of money, even now, they got, into crypto at like, it was under $1,000 just over a year ago, less than 2 years ago. And then all of a sudden, it's still $3,600. Oh my God, $20,000. And they go, all of those gains, how much is demand one of? Because I was an idiot and bought it on Coinbase. So I'm going, all right, demand knows, and they're going, how do you protect yourself of the people that already made the money?
I lost it all in a boating accident.
Yeah, and I'm not going to go, you need to buy this or that. That was not what this was about. It was about not taking all these big gains that you did make on Bitcoin, and not lose it all to the man. That's what this was about.
All right, am I back?
Yeah.
All right.
When I start let me tell you what. That's what I learned from Charles Goyette.
Yeah.
The talk show host always gets the last word, and it's my freaking show, and I got a butt. Okay?
All right. So,
FYI.
so like a Series 7 is an exam that you take if you're going to be a trader and you're going to be trading other people's money. So look, when you are responsible for other people's money, there's a couple of things to being a financial advisor. It's not that simple, right? So there are multiple different organizations. There's multiple different exams. So some parts of financial advisors is you just go into a bank and like you talk to some guy at the bank that's kind of registered as a financial advisor. That guy isn't actually actively trading your money. Those that are actively trading your money, there's a Series 7. There is others. I've never taken
What is
any of
Series
them
7? What the hell
Why
does
does
that
any
mean?
of this matter? Why can't Ernie give me permission to trade his money for him?
because you're going to scam them.
Well, he gets
Because
to
that
decide
happened.
and I get to decide that.
Well,
No,
because
you said some other.
well
thing.
because
So we all
because
gotta be
because
scammed to
well no
prevent from
because
being
because
scammed.
because here's why, right? Because when that before the licensing, the reason why licensing exists is because there were if you are not qualified, like how does Ernie know that you're qualified to trade his money?
Well, he would talk to my other customers.
Right.
Or he would
So what
he would
happened-
enter into an
and-
actual
Yeah, I
voluntary
use
But
my
here's the
contract
problem.
with me.
Here's
This
the
is a catallactics. It's all about that. Maybe I want to lose money on certain things. I support green technology. Well, you'll lose money. Don't care.
Maybe
Because I could go into
Well, here-
military-industrial
right,
complex
we're
and
not
make
gonna-
10%
Ernie,
more, but I don't care.
we're getting way off topic of what
No,
I wanted
it's-
to
I
talk
need
about.
to
No, no,
determine
I know.
what the reason
but
is.
no, but wait a minute. Well, first of all, because then 90% of the people like him are gonna scam guys like you, and then you're gonna try to sue him and use up state resources to sue him. So the state said, screw that. Now this guy has to be licensed before you can give him his money because everyone is using state resources to go in after people that are scamming them.
So you don't see that as a rights violation? I'm literally not allowed to give Ernie advice. Like that's a First Amendment violation, and I have.
Here's the thing: you can give them all advice you want, but if you voluntarily opted in to an organization whose credibility you are then using, that you are licensed and you are Whoa, let me finish. Let me finish. You can give Ernie. I can give Ernie all the financial advice I want. Right? I am not using the credibility of the state to solicit Ernie.
Sure.
As a friend to Ernie,
So that's allowed.
I can give
credibility to me.
Ernie. Well, exactly. So Ernie, to you, I can give you whatever advice I like, okay? Because that is not, I am not using the state's credibility to solicit your money. But if I opt in to the state's licensing, the state is now putting their stamp of approval on me soliciting your money. Now, here's the thing. If I am going to use the state licensing to solicit business, right, I then shouldn't complain that, oh, they're not letting me say this or that. Then don't do it.
Absolutely.
Now, wait a minute.
Done.
We're
Next.
not-
Peace.
We're
out.
not saying you're not allowed to use the state's credibility without a license. We're saying you're not allowed to do the job without a license.
What do you mean? I mean, if Ernie asked me for
All right,
my
we'll talk
advice
about
on
it more when we
finance,
come
I'll give
back.
it to him.
All right, let's save that conversation for when we come back. All right, note to tone. If I'm talking, you go, no, Ernie, I got a freaking button every MFing time.
I know.
Okay,
I got
that
muted.
is just the way it is. Get used to it. Okay,
Oh, I'm already used to it.
we'll be right back.
Been here enough times.
Well, my thing is like there are some premises I'm attacking, and you want to just keep pushing forward on these premises, and I'm like, I don't agree with these premises, so we can't make any progress there until we at least agree what the principle is.
I mean, sure, but like no one is stopping anyone from giving their friends advice, and no one is stopping their friends from voluntarily, tipping them for that advice.
Okay, so there's nothing that this license gives you but credibility. There's no legal rights it gives you that you don't already have.
No, there will be legal rights with that, right? I can now form a business out of it. I can now
wait.
advertise.
I think I've got a right to form a business without a license.
Okay, wait.
Depends on the business.
All right, no, wait. If you guys are gonna yak it, you gotta have it recorded. But it's not recorded on it. Okay, what?
So you're saying that I need this license in order to form a business. I cannot form this business without this license. Is that correct?
Well, it depends on the business, right? Like, I'm sorry, if someone is going to be trading and managing my money,
Yeah.
how do I know that they know what they're doing?
That's not relevant.
I don't care.
That's not relevant.
your problem.
No, that's not relevant to my point. That's relevant. That's relevant in the next phase of this discussion. But what I'm saying is, do you have a right to do that?
Do I have a right to what?
Do I have a right do you have a right to hand me a $5 bill and say, hey, go bet on the horse race for me?
Your choice.
My choice, your choice, whatever. Tell me who to vote for. Tell me what your lottery numbers are. Do you have a right to give your property to someone else and ask them to manage it for you?
I'm pretty sure you do, but then you have no recourse.
That's fine. The point is that is not allowed anymore if you have to have a license to do that. Like,
And I mean, wait. I'm for, there's some recourse. Libertarians are all about aggression using force and fraud. If they're lying to me, now if they go, I don't have a license from the state, I don't have anything, I use tea leaves, and I do this, and you go, you lied to me, you use coffee beans. I don't give a crap what it is. If you fraud me.
The Wall Street astrologer.
Yeah. If you fraud me, that's definitely actionable, I think.
Sure.
It's force and fraud.
But my point is, you're not voluntarily opting into something if your rights are violated if you don't opt into it. A contract isn't valid if it's under duress.
Right. Man, that's a good point. How have I got a clean and clear contract with somebody that I got a third party with a gun pointing at their head saying you have to and you can't? That's like the doctors and the incentives even, that they got this back end of pharma, blah, blah, blah. How am I getting, unbiased information from somebody that has got a gun to somebody's head and the license of the crown says you can't and you have to?
It's like
it messes up everything.
It's like, here's a license. You're not allowed to do things, right? So I've already, you're under coercion already. And then they come and say, well, if you sign this paperwork and agree to these things, you can do half of the things. So now you've voluntarily opted in because you opted in to do some of the things you were already prohibited from doing.
Wanted the shiny badge.
Well, it's not even wanted. It's needed. I never wanted a driver's license. I needed it.
It's when people.
I wanted you to have a driver's license. I don't want to be on the road with people. Thailand had this problem.
No, it's exactly what you're doing. You're putting on the web and you're saying, I'm giving this class on how you to do it. What are you doing to protect yourself? What happens when somebody goes, man, I didn't really get enough out. I just lost why I want Tones at. Are you having them sign some waiver?
No.
I understand that you want people to have a license, and most people want people to have a license, but you can't call a license voluntarily opting in if it's not optional.
And we're back. Tone's got my music cord, so he can record whatever.
Can we talk about driver licenses for a second? 1 second. I just want to tell you guys a story. So I was in Thailand the other day, and someone in Thailand said, yeah, we had a big problem here a few years ago where basically they wanted to sell more cars. So because the reason we want to sell more cars, how do you sell cars? Well, people need to have a driver's license to buy a car. So they decided to just give away driver's license to everyone, whether they knew how to drive or not.
They did that in California, too. There was a whole big scandal about, I can't remember if it was Vietnamese or Chinese, but there was some immigrant population that had a job at the DMV and was just giving licenses to people they were ethnically similar to because they weren't passing the tests and they were just looking out for their own.
And you don't think that's a problem?
It's a huge problem, but what I'm saying is the DMV doesn't solve it. That was a problem that happened in the DMV system.
Well, no, but you're saying that no one even needs a license. I understand that was
who should issue the license. I'm saying like the insurance company would go, I think you probably should have an all-state license if we saw that you can drive.
My point is not whether or not you should have a license. My point is if it's mandatory, it's not voluntary, and if a contract isn't voluntary, it isn't valid. So you can't say that they voluntarily opted into the license.
No, of course they voluntarily opted into the license. They asked their friend at the DMV and they made him a license. They voluntarily got the license.
Okay, well, Bobby, let him finish on his point in Thailand. So they said, all right, we're just giving out licenses
without
you'll buy a car.
Without checking people if they knew how to drive or not, and it became very, very dangerous on the roads because
you're assuming the license was that there's nothing to say that the license is for competency. They used to give out license plates to cars. They didn't give a crap whether the car worked or not. They just want to make sure everybody had a plate.
Right. So you don't think it's important for a person to have shown competency in knowing how to drive before they can get behind the wheel?
I believe what Morty said in the Morty's Mind Blowers episode of Rick and Morty, and that is if you let me make more mistakes, maybe I'd learn from them and make less mistakes.
Right, but if those mistakes kill people, what happens?
Let's go back to your question. Ernie, you don't think people should have a license showing that they were competent? That's your question? Right?
Yeah.
And I'm going, I don't believe a government-issued license means shit.
So you believe a private entity can issue a better license?
They would, or they wouldn't do it.
Certainly in the realm of financial advising.
Yeah, no, these are private associations. I remember, I give you an example. This is a good example.
So you're not.
See, I'm going to do that. Do that. I got a button.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So I, owning a restaurant, I have the county health inspector comes in. They're going to explain it. They're going, you did this, you did that, and you're good and bad. And of course, government always comes in for something that they deem is popular or important. You have private libraries until the government comes in, they're going to do it. You have philanthropic efforts to do whatever, and you've got firemen.
Oh, yeah, sure.
You pay firemen, to do whatever, and put out your fires. And they go, no, that's a government thing now. You have private security, no, that's a government thing now. No matter what it is, water is it's a government thing now. So no matter what it is that the free market is very good and popular at doing, they'll look for some, whatever, and they ignore the Flint, Michigans where the government, did it. But you go in, and they'll always come in for my benefit and say that they're doing me a solid. We're doing you a favor. We're going to take care of that for you. And I'm going, I am not. So when you say, well, don't you think it would be better that you have a license? And I'm going, if they got some competency of, I could have my own gun store, and I say I only sell to people that have this training that, oh, by the way, I got the back room, or, this guy did, or somebody certified or something. But in a restaurant, what did it used to be? It was AAA rating. You had the American Automotive Association, whatever, people driving around. They go, if I saw a restaurant with that sticker in,
that's his Yelp score.
Right, exactly. And that's the modern version of that. So you go in and you'll say, hey, somebody went around and rated these guys. They did a 4-star. Where do you think the star hotel thing came from? It's not a government 4-star. It's somebody else. And if I go to some place and they say, ooh, it's a 6-star and it's a Best Western 3-star kind of express, I'm going, I'm not believing them anymore. Government doesn't work that way. They go, hey, the certification is the credibility. Yeah, but he didn't do it. Doesn't matter. You got the certification. Are you licensed? And I go, yeah, but you did a shit job and it doesn't matter. Got the license. I go, that license doesn't mean anything to me. So I would refuse to sign any of the health inspector guys. They go, well, you got a 99 or 95. We had an average of like 94 to 6 or something until we refused to do some new licensing thing they had for just a make money BS thing. Oh, they had 3 inspectors. They want to explain it to me. Big newspaper thing. God, man, it's not about, dough. It's about dough. They do the article. There's some Richard Rellis, one of the columnists there, is in Republic. And they go, well, Ernest Hancock, a libertarian, there's a few items short of a supreme. Try to make fun of it. But I got a whole bunch of orders because of this licensing thing. They understood.
Is that a taco joke? Like a supreme?
A supreme pizza, a few items.
Okay.
So
I was like 2 layers short of a 7-layer burrito.
Right. So the point is that I understood fundamentally exactly what Davi is saying. The licensing from the man doesn't mean squat to me. Yelp has more of an impact, which people will abuse that. And what's their recourse? A restaurant and go, hey, sue this person. They give you a bad Yelp score, and they go and pile on. The trolls come in, the robots, or whatever. When we're doing all this stuff on Pirates of the Facebook thing, there's a little option. We went through every line of it. There's a thing called Discover. Discover, do you want your site to be available to the bots? Do you want them to be able to come in? Do you want them to come in? They'll discover you more and you'll get more, but you're going to get flooded with bot crap. And I'm going, hell no. So when you say the licensing, I come in from world experience at 57 years old. Never in my life has it sustained any amount of time that a government license meant I was going to get better service, especially as we spent the last hour on the medical industry. And I'm going, it is BS. So do you think you should have a license? What the hell do you mean? From the crown?
It doesn't matter. But I'm asking you.
Well,
are you against?
I want competency.
Well, wait. Are you against license?
I'm for competency.
Are you against?
I'm for competency.
Are you against licenses or are you against government licenses? How do you prove competency?
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Do you wait for a Yelp score on somebody's driving?
That might help.
Wait, hang on a second. Why doesn't your principal immediately demand that governments be certified by some outside party to prevent them from scamming their citizens?
Yeah, where's that department?
I'm not specific. I didn't.
Hague?
Where do they prove their competence?
Look, I don't care who's providing.
Who watches the watchers?
Like, for me, it doesn't matter if the license is from the government or from a private entity. The question is, how do I know the person operating a vehicle that can kill me is qualified to do so?
Okay, but if
There's
the government,
a sticker on
if the
door.
government is monopolizing the license, then there is no other entity. So if you don't care, if
So
it's
again-
another entity, that's
so again,
irrelevant, 'cause
Who
another
built the
entity
road?
doesn't
Are
On
exist.
my
you-
private road,
you take a class. On my gun range, you take a class. On my, see, when you start putting in this, it's a tragedy of the commons every single time.
So Ernie, so when your competition decides to undercut you by being a lot looser with their requirements and are taking your business, what are you going to do?
Be better, expose
Be
them,
better or what?
than them.
I mean, this is how we got into the 2008 financial crisis. Some banks started giving away really bad, cheap,
They were licensed,
irresponsible.
though, right?
That's fine. But some banks, again, we're talking about the tragedy of the commons, right? Some banks started to give away mortgages to unqualified people, and those banks were making a lot of money.
Yeah,
right.
The more responsible banks, some of them said, this is ridiculous, but if we also don't compete with them for giving away terrible mortgages to terrible people, we will go out of business.
Big Short,
So,
absolutely. Moody's and
right.
S&P,
So,
they said if we don't
right.
give it a AAA,
So-
somebody else will.
So when you
It's required by the pensions for them to have a AAA, for them to invest in it. Why?
But
Because they got some law.
If you had
Law.
if you had no confidence in the government's licensure and you had no confidence in the banking industry, you were protected from that scam.
Right.
I was not affected by that scam.
Exactly. See, the thing is, and I know this because I've paid attention through all this, of course, activism, freedom, all that kind of stuff. And my brother-in-law is a VP at Moody's. He rates bond. I don't know what he does now, but he's a big woohoo there. And when all this Arthur Anderson stuff happened, and when the financial crisis went, and all this, I'm going, how the hell did you give this crap AAA ratings? Because they met the criteria and did, and we kind of looked at and slide, and they sold it back and forth between each other, and it went up and kind of met the criteria. We pushed the button, boom, they got the rating. I go, but did you look at it? I mean, the Big Short was all about, hey, they're not performing. They're behind it. Did you even look? Nope. Look at this number. We're licensed. License. So when you say, don't you think, see, you're in a total different mindset. You think like I haven't had this conversation like 15 billion times before. I get emails from people that are going, I don't want to have you and Tone just yelling at each other. It's not fun. And I hang up. I don't want to. Why? Because I'm just like, you drive me nuts because your mindset is in a system. If somebody has to approve the system, somebody's got to be, you can't trust all these scam coins. We need regulation. We need the banking this. We need the certification of that. We need the crown that I'm going, no, we don't. That's how this happened.
Right, but Ernie, when you talk about private entities can do a better job than the government, and then you constantly complain about private entities. I mean, you hate Google, you hate Facebook, you hate all of these private companies. So what's the solution?
Do you think that they're private?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I mean, the government doesn't force Google to sell your information to advertisers. You know,
they're first to get it.
You know, so
they fund it, they support it.
Again,
you tell Zuckerberg the money. They require what you can and can't do. They're the ones testifying before Congress. They're going to say you're a utility or not. You're going to blah, 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 government. And when you got the competition that's not worried about, some regulatory agents go, no, you can't use that frequency, or you can't do that, or you can't. And I'm going, who the hell's telling me I can't? I mean, if I'm violating somebody else's property, if I'm, mucking in on their business or something, no, you're mucking in on their monopoly from the charter or the license or the patent or whatever granted by the crown. It's all this licensing is, it might as well just be a charter granted by a king. That's exactly what this stuff is. You go to the fourth letter of Captain Mark. Boom, intellectual property, pattern monopolies, we called it. And we addressed this you probably hear the commercial coming in later. So this is, if you're going to make your argument, competency or something that, people just not fraud me. Hey man, I'm Bertie Madoff. I make this shitloads of money. Did I or did I not make this money? Yep, I did it like this. Did I do it legally? Absolutely. Was it legal? No. Is that part of the deal? Was it, a Ponzi? Did you say, did he fraud you? Why did he fraud you? Because he lied to you on how it worked. Boom, go prosecute the son of a bitch. Having a license did not protect me.
No, but having a license and how did people put Bernie away? He had to go through the court system, right?
Half the nothing. It probably what kept him alive. People just take him out. They're trying to recover, their money. I'm sure a lot of people that helped and got incentivized to bring people to them, they had all their money taken too from the government.
Right, but again, we are talking like outliers here, right? We're not talking.
I'm trying to get to a principle. If you want to make the argument, Ernie, don't you believe there should be a license? No, I do not. I believe in competence. Yeah, but don't you think I believe in competency? I believe in you not lying to me. It's like you keep coming back. Well, competency is a license from the Crown. What? Where the hell do you make that connection? That's why it's so frustrating talking to you, because it's just like you're always in a mindset of somebody licensing, somebody given sanction to. These scammers ought to be prosecuted because they performed badly, and these people voluntarily gave them money. And
no one's prosecuting the scammers in the crypto space. There's like only been like 2 or 3 out of like hundreds.
Well,
it's not thousands.
If they're frauding people, they should be, held accountable.
Which means the crypto space is full of savvy users who are beginning to learn to recognize a scam.
Not from what I mean, like my audience is growing, so maybe, but other than that, I haven't seen it.
Here, And Dobby Barker and Tone Bay's going at it, and we're kind of, still on this licensing thing. I need you to, yes, I need to have competency. And if you got that, it's a tragedy of the commons. So whatever it's public, who gets to decide who it is and what the criteria of who gets to and why.
You got to hire a degrifter if you're afraid of scammers. It's like a private investigator. If you think you're going to make a big deal with a company and you want to make
sure this guy
it's not a scam, you hire a private investigator.
I did it in the first hour. This guy Austin Jones comes in first hour, atlasarms.org. He's got a project called the Dagny Dagger Project, which is armor-piercing, penetrating ammo that you make the casings on the Ghost Gunner. You put the certain kind of, you order from MasterCard the stock, and it goes, boom, and we bypass the man, and I get to have armor-piercing, and the man can suck it. And I'm doing on a gun platform that's crowdsourced funding. I need $30,000, and I'll do this. Is who I am, whatever. And I'm going, is it a scam? So what do? Chip Saunders, our firearms expert, Donna sends him all the stuff last night. He looks at it. He goes, there was a similar guy trying to do that. I think it was a scam. This guy, I think he's got it going on. I think he's legit. So he comes, that's why he was here this morning. He comes in, he goes, all right, listen to the guy we talked about. All right. Because it's another Cody Wilson thing. It's the same reason, the same motivation, the same, what kind of due diligence do I need to do? I'm going to go to the BATF. Do you have a license? Do you go, hell freaking no. That is not how I operate. I don't give a crap. They're going to say no, just as a knee jerk if you don't have permission slip with the Crown or whatever, and nothing gets done. And I'm going, nope, that's not how I operate. So when you say license, what do you mean?
Well, again, we have to talk about a specific one, right? Because everything's different. Well, let's go back to that example, right? So someone was trying to sell you something in the gun industry, and experts in the gun industry. So what did you do? You asked a friend, or you paid someone that is competent to go check out X.
Does that guy have to have a certification from the Crown?
Well, no, you have to trust your guy that you're hiring that he knows what he's doing.
And some people trust a certification, and I don't.
Yeah, the thing is, we're describing a scenario where that guy that you say that he has to trust, he doesn't have to trust because it's mandatory.
What do you mean?
If the license is mandatory, you don't have to trust. I don't trust the DMV to competently test people. Drivers are awful. I'm constantly afraid for my life when there are terrible drivers on the road. So the DMV is not succeeding at making sure drivers are competent.
It's better than nothing.
It is better than nothing, but it's not that I trust the DMV. You're saying you have to trust your friend to get your
No. I'm saying that it seems like Ernie trusted his friend. Ernie didn't care if his friend had a license. He trusted his friend because Ernie has trusted him for having competency. Now, Ernie, you have your reasons for trusting him for having competency. Okay? So why doesn't, because you've been around guns for a while, why doesn't that transition to listening to me when it comes to the crypto space?
This is I don't jump on Tone, but I've known Tone a long time, and I trust him to be, sincere. I think that your credibility is damaged when you say Bitcoin is it because whatever reason you want to give, and everything else is a scam coin. Why? because they are not Bitcoin. That's your argument. And I'm going,
Well, it's more
what?
detailed than that, but
Oh,
yeah.
tell me. You know what? Tell me what crypto out there is not a scam coin and why.
Well, we talked about it last night a little bit, off
Okay.
air. And the concept is what Bitcoin did is just not replicatable because it's more than a technology. Satoshi had a technological breakthrough to create proof of work in order to solve double spending, which is a way to send digital data without that data being copied. You're sending the original piece of data. That was a technological breakthrough. Once that breakthrough happened, everyone went, oh my God, I'm going to do this, this, and this. And that's possible. They can create other technology from it. What makes Bitcoin unique as money is the fact that it grew up in the wild with no market value for over a year, while people started to trust it, because the only thing that matters to a currency, the only reason why the US dollar is the world reserve currency and it's the most useful currency around the world, is not because of the US military, it's because of the global confidence in the U.S. government being the most responsible government out of the rest.
Well, that right there is why. That right there.
Out of the rest.
That right there is why I can't not put full confidence in you as a financial advisor, because you're obviously coming from radically different principles than me.
No, but that's reality, right? Like if
I disagree.
If the world did not trust the U.S. government to print more responsibly, another currency would be the world reserve currency.
Yeah, and if the government wasn't using its military to enforce its dollar hegemony in the globe, the rest of the globe wouldn't have the confidence in the U.S.
It
dollar.
helps. No, it certainly helps.
Right.
It certainly helps, right?
How much help do they need?
It certainly helps.
Enslaving my freaking
So what is the feature? What is the feature of the U.S. dollar besides the military that gives people confidence in it?
Well, it doesn't matter. It has confidence, right? So
Okay.
so that's how. So Bitcoin has been getting that confidence for the last 10 years.
Cash get that pass? Why don't you say it doesn't matter what the technical specifications are? People have confidence in it.
Well, they don't. That's why Bitcoin Cash is worth 5% of it. Well, right, 95, but not 5% of the people.
Like you wouldn't go to France and say use the dollar. Don't use any of your scam alt dollars.
I mean, I would rather use my dollars in France instead of the euros, but even though the euro is slightly more valued.
Well,
but
I remember you go to Russia, man, they're definitely dollars, cash.
Sure.
U.S. dollars, they were
sure.
premium.
In 90,
when the Mexico took a dump, they're coming across. How fast can they cash their paycheck on the border into U.S. dollars? But now it's getting to where.
I agree.
Yeah, the ruble might be more valuable than the dollar.
No, it's not.
I'd rather not.
No, it's not. It won't be.
That'll never happen.
No. Well, it may happen in the future, but it's not going to happen anytime soon because you have to trust the Russian government to be more responsible with the economics.
And you have to trust the U.S. government to be more responsible with.
Do you trust? So who
They're
do you?
Better than Russia.
So, well, that's the point, right? Who do you?
I don't know. Are they?
Well, I believe they are, but some people in the world may disagree. But the majority the majority of the people in the world will trust the U.S. government with money over Russia with money.
And by coincidence, the U.S. is occupying more foreign territory than Russia.
Yeah, I mean that
because we're the good guys. Damn it.
Sure. I mean, Russia used to occupy a lot of territory, but they went broke.
Right.
Right. So because they ran the wrong.
They were running a scam.
Well, right, because
we became socialist.
Right.
Amount of socialism.
Right. So Russia was running a more socialist model. They ran out of money faster. The U.S. was.
So what happens when they go more capitalist? When they start charging for rides to space stations?
But they have
it. Bitches that they're making money on space. Those communists.
So, but my point with Bitcoin and crypto is what Bitcoin did in its first 2 years of life is just not replicatable. And every altcoin that came after it will never be able to replicate Bitcoin's first 2 years.
Sure the audience understands your argument. Correct me if I'm wrong. Skip to the freaking end. We got a minute here. Okay. Tone was making the argument from, I don't know, somebody said something about something in a book and he incorporated it into his experience of whatever, came to this. That you never again are going to have the ability to have something that was as robust as Bitcoin, create a network into the ecosphere of the world that is now ingrained without interference from anyone and be decentralized and the node yada yada yada. You can never recreate that again. So it has to be Bitcoin because they were first to market to do this, and nobody will ever redo that.
Yeah, pretty much like the internet.
What?
The protocols of the internet are
Protocols of the internet.
They're going to get changed because they suck.
People have been saying that for 25 years, and they still haven't.
Internet 3-point kiss my butt. Here we go.
There are alternative networks out there. They don't have the wide adoption.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's coming. I can give you a bunch of examples of different technologies.
But it's even, and I think it's even harder.
Hell, even
with
Jeff
money.
Berners-Lee is coming out going, I screwed up on the worldwide. We're going to redo it and kind of whatever. Right. I trust him at MIT, but to think it's not going to happen. Hell, the guy that invented it is doing it right now.
And I think I think it will be easier in the future to get a different internet protocol and migrate everything to a more efficient internet than it will be to migrate to what someone else will create as more efficient money.
Okay, so your bottom line, the reason you say everything is a scam coin because it's not Bitcoin, and Bitcoin, it will always be superior because it was the first.
Not because it was the way it evolved while being the first. It was the way it evolved. Like, it's not about being first, it's how it evolved. Like, so which
cannot be replicated.
Cannot be replicated.
Cannot.
It wasn't valuable enough to be a honeypot for scammers yet.
Yeah, that takes out the ability of the 13-year-old that finally has got the 10,000 hours of expertise in blockchain, or another, hash cat, whatever the heck it was. There's all kinds of different, mechanisms for, conquering the Byzantine general thing. And I'm going, so when that comes out, the next one, or quantum, starts to, rear its head, or, whatever, you're going to go, yeah, Bitcoin.
Right, because if Bitcoin is surpassed by, because if Bitcoin is surpassed by an alternative, with some person standing, with a microphone, hyping it up because they created it, then the store of value is just gone across all blockchains, and they just become medium of exchange, and no one will ever save it. They'll be like hot potatoes. How fast can you get rid of this payment? It'll be like if someone pays you.
That's kind of how I see, crypto to begin with.
I don't.
I'm looking for.
But the majority of people don't.
Well, the majority of people want to use it. They want it to be, worth something. I'm saying the ability to give me the features that they're promising: speed, inexpensive, secure, anonymous, privacy, blah blah blah. All these features that cryptocurrency keeps promising me. You give me that, then I trade in it. I don't have to go to someone that shuts down my PayPal account. I have to go to a bank that says, I see what you're doing. I don't have to have the government involved in the crown wants to get their cut. I don't have to. I'm going, it's free, it's pirate money. And I'm going, okay, I want that. That trait right there, I believe, gives it value. But like they're looking like Bitcoin Cash has gone a different tack. They're going, well, see, it's down, it's low, it's up, it's down. Don't care. They're looking for a cryptocurrency for the traits of being in trade. And that doesn't matter. I can store my stuff in silver, I can store it in Bitcoin, I can store it whatever, but Bitcoin, at least gold, I can pick it up and go and sell it to somebody or something, but it has a history of it not being, and it's not there today. Because.
Right. So, Ernie, so if you don't care about the store of value property of crypto.
I'm saying store of value comes from its usability. And even as a store of value, that store of value is not there if I can't access it when I want.
Yeah, but the most used currency in the world, or the fastest used currency in the world, is probably the Venezuelan peso, because the moment someone pays you in peso, you run to the nearest store and spend it.
I saw it here in Mexico and Arizona.
Right.
They had trailers on the border. People just walked across the desert, came in with their pesos or whatever to get U.S. dollars. So, because by the time they got their next paycheck, it was worth half of what it was before.
Correct. And this is how I treat cryptos that are in Bitcoin. I want to spend them as soon as possible because I expect them to immediately fall in value. So I can't hold on to them I want to hold on to them for as little time as possible. And that doesn't generate value in that coin, where eventually nobody even wants to accept it.
It does need acceptance. And that's why this year you're going to see me more focusing on exchanges, because that's where I see the regulation is going to come in. It's licensing again. It's all the crown, the man. It's not I get to decide what I see of value and what I want to exchange for what I want to exchange on the exchange of exchanging. They're going to go, nope, 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 nope. We don't care if you're in Switzerland. We don't care if you're in Thailand. We don't care if you're moon base south, but we got Hellfire missiles or photon torpedoes. You're not freaking allowed to be able to do this. What's going to happen? I give the audience an example. Here's a mental word picture, like give you an example of what I think is going to happen. In 2000, we were at the Anaheim Libertarian National Convention. I think it was 2000. Bob Anderson and I, we get there, and all of a sudden we see an article. It was in the LA Times or something. It was not Seasteading, Sealand. Okay, it was this platform out in the ocean off the coast of Britain that was in international waters. It was an anti-aircraft platform that I got cups and books and everything from this guy. It was called Holding the Fort. Here it is. All right, everybody look at it. I'll show you. All right, this book called Holding the Fort. And what this was about was this platform out there was declared international waters of suck it and we can do whatever we want. Now, what happened is that in 2000, they got the sovereignty, went through all the hoops and got their licenses or whatever from the UN and the court system of whatever and for our own land. Well, Bob and I look at each other and we go, we know exactly what's coming. It's going to be servers. They're going to have servers. Who do you give a warrant to, we have subpoena, if you got to suck it. First thing they do, start putting servers on there. Who is it? It's a backup encrypted books of the mob or a country of dictator of some whatever. I have no idea. But then a British destroyer shows up, out in the front yard in the sea there and says, yo, what's up? What we think? We think we don't care and you can be dead. Well, they took all these other platforms that are out in the ocean. You see, the drifting pieces of it. They blew them all up except them. And this guy here, when he was 13 years old or something, he took his little 380 pistol and he's shooting it at this battleship just to be a dick. They go to court. Is he in violation of whatever? And that's how they got the standing. They went to court for this kid shooting at a warship. They fire on, that kind of crap. So it's an interesting story. They make their money on giving you passports or your titles or I'm the minister of whatever the hell or something like that. And you get trinkets and trash.
Yeah, my dad bought me a title from Sealand.
I got some good stuff. It's fun. Now, the thing is that who do you serve the subpoena on when they got a mining rig there? Or they're holding, data or they got, So what do we see China's doing? China now can communicate with the Earth with a satellite from the dark side of the freaking moon. There is going to be all this licensing crap ain't going to mean squat. There is going to be literally the dark side of the moon that you're going to be able to run your crypto, whatever, and low Earth orbit, CubeSat, yada, yada, yada. The technology is overwhelming anything anybody is ever going to, and nobody sees it. They're not looking at that. They're not addressing that. That's what the Pirates Without Borders thing is. Decentralization is going to get down to the point of the 13-year-old kid that now he turns 22. He's had 10,000 hours of the new technology of the quantum blockchain of who gives a crap, and he comes up with the new whatever, and we're done. And Tone will go, it's not Bitcoin scam. And I find that, why would I go to you for innovation or future prediction of anything with that attitude? I don't see how that serves.
Because I'm going to be right.
Okay, we're going to find out. I can tell you that.
Yes, you will. I'm trying to, and this is the point. The point is that we have now 2,000 or 3,000 altcoins. What does that mean?
I don't know. It means a lot of people
are creating
different guns, different.
A lot of people are
different buggy whips, different.
It means a lot of people are creating their own money.
So good.
That's good. So you think any person can just create their own money and sell it to other people?
And you think they should? Buy it. I mean, see, that's what the difference is. You're thinking, no, they should be stopped by somebody.
I believe the best product emerges from a competitive market. And so you absolutely want people competing in the quality of their currency. Otherwise, you end up with a monopoly, and monopolies provide poorer services.
So you think a random person can create better money than the current money in existence?
Like they always do. Satoshi did.
Not only do I think that
well, that's the only example in the last 100 years.
Right?
I launched a currency in 2003, and I bought hot dogs with it. It wasn't a cryptocurrency. It was just a paper currency with my face on it. But I convinced not Blockbuster, but another video rental place to take it. And I convinced
And
the
you,
hot dog
and, you-
place
and
to
you
take
didn't
it.
feel like you scammed a legitimate business
No,
by
I
doing
brought
that?
business into their companies. They made a professional decision to say, hey, if we take this goofy money that this guy's passing around on this college campus, then we're the only people to take it. That means those students are going to come to us to spend it and probably buy other stuff.
I still have business cards that are silver. I mean, it's like a shiny silver.
Yeah.
The declare your independence. Remember those? The declare your independence money that I did when I had my radio show out of Scottsdale, and there were different businesses that would take that as money.
Yeah.
You know, they got discounts on. It was like a discount card, but just to get them into the store.
I had a counterfeiter. That means it must have been worth something.
Not a counter.
I had a counterfeiter. There was another
guy was
student-
counterfeiting your
There was
stuff.
a guy counterfeiting my money.
Yeah, that's when you know. Well, see, Bitcoin's legit. Because people are counterfeiting.
I had to put in a bunch of security measures.
So people were counterfeiting your own money that you created.
Yes,
It has that much value.
I created a currency. I put my face on it. I handed it out, and people spent it with me because I was selling stuff. But like I took dollars too. And then I went around to businesses and I said, hey, you want to take my goofy money? I'm passing this around San Jose State. And they're like, sure. And so a couple of places started taking it. And then lo and behold, I started getting currency from people that I knew was like not real because I'm the one who makes it. I'm like, I have a counterfeiter. And it turned out that there was another student at Santa Clara University who was printing my money for me.
That's awesome. You win.
And it was just a paper currency. It was backed by the magazines I was printing.
And you saw that as a good thing that someone was counterfeiting your money?
Hell
It meant
yeah!
it was valuable.
Excellent.
It's like Bitcoin. It's not, it doesn't have counterfeiters, and what value is it? I mean, that's what you're complaining about.
It meant
it has counterfeiters. And I'm going, that's the only thing that gives it legitimacy to a lot of people.
It meant a handful of things. It meant that it was valuable enough that someone saw a viable scam in it, which meant that it held value in their mind, and it meant that I was forced into a position to add security measures, which is what you want in a currency.
Excellent. So this is exactly how I see the crypto space. Bitcoin came out with something, and everybody else since that day has been trying to counterfeit it with their own.
That
makes Bitcoin even more valuable, like in your personal example.
If it has security, yeah.
Absolutely. You don't counterfeit a thing that isn't valuable.
We just look at the world totally different. It's that European, Eastern, college educated, professional, licensed something thing in your head of where your default is. And because I love you, I like Tone. Tone's a good guy. We're good friends.
So,
and he has full run of my house and here and Wi-Fi and download your porn. What I don't care. The point is that I'm like, look, it is just this fundamental thing. I'm trying to save you, brother.
So here's the thing: you're saying that anyone can launch their own currency, as if like can is a moral question. It's not. It's a technological question. Yes, anyone can launch their own currency. That's a fact. That's a reality we all live in now.
But a currency is more than technology, right? Like I said earlier, currency. The most important thing for a currency is confidence of people in that currency.
Right. For some reason, that hot dog stand and that video rental place had confidence that I was going to continue producing this magazine, that I was going to put value into this currency.
Secret Service didn't. The Crown didn't get. Gosh darn it! So Tone, you're fraud, and so you're not Bitcoin. So you
okay. So
if anyone,
and we're
heads up, everyone. If you've still got a Norton dollar from 2003,
I'll give you a lot more than a dollar.
I will honor it at 10 times the face.
Okay. So let's get back to why you eventually stopped doing this, right? Because
graduated.
One, you grew up, and the number one reason is you grew up, right? But let's say you kept going, it would have been like the Liberty dollar, it would have been like e-gold, it would have been like the Linden dollars, right? The government would have eventually came after you,
if they
right?
don't come after it, it's not really legit threat.
Again, this is how I see all of the other altcoins, because the government I feel that the government can come after them and actually cause damage to them by going after them. And I can't see the government causing damage by going after Bitcoin.
This is one thing that I've witnessed in the space. And especially right now, a good friend of ours, Morpheus, Thomas Costanza, is sitting in prison right now. Because he was trading, and they went after him, everything. They had every regulatory and law enforcement agency, DEA, NSA, FBI, local sheriff. I mean, it was everybody. Department of Homeland Security. I mean, it was everything. They went after him, and they just found it was a guy that was just trading. So what did they do? What they got him on was a guy goes, I am a Russian heroin dealer. He goes, look, I don't need to hear that crap. I don't give a crap. Boom! You didn't abandon that transaction, and because that's what got him. But during the entire trial, they go like this. The judge goes, and he wouldn't take a plea. He goes, no, let's do it. It's rock and roll. Whatever you're gonna do, do it. Well, he dropped all kinds of stuff. A bunch of other guys got off. And he got like less than 2 years. Okay, so he'll be out like this next summer or within a year or so. So his whole thing, and he unbent and unbound. He's a nice guy. He wrote a thing to the judge. It's like had a bromance with him. I think that you're the fall guy, and there's other guys that should have got nailed, and you got. I don't think they did what. And I think that judge wanted that case. So he gets in. He wasn't afraid. Everybody in the first had federal marshals there, and so I mean it was freaking ridiculous. And through the entire thing, they kept saying, "Jury, we want to make it very clear: Bitcoin is not illegal. Bitcoin could be mined, could be held, could be used. If Bitcoin's good, Bitcoin, we love Bitcoin. Bitcoin's good, Bitcoin, 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 Bitcoin." They got the memo from somewhere that Bitcoin, it wasn't this, it's the only currency of drug dealers and this and that and everything, when the evidence is they mostly use piles of cash anyway. So you go to money laundering of whatever the hell. Well, that's another thing, money laundering. I want to talk about that. So what they did is they go, Bitcoin is perfectly legal, it's legal, and they kept emphasizing that. It's not a crime. It's not a crime. It's not a crime. Why? Because the man is going to pick a cryptocurrency. They are going to legitimize it one way or another. And I see this whole thing with Craig Wright was going off on, that's why I want to do the exchange thing. When Craig Wright was going off on Bitcoin Cash, whatever the hell, ABC or something.
Yeah.
When they go after and he says, you are illegitimate. You don't have the sanction of the crown. You're going to be because we can't track it and trace it. You're going to be drug dealer money. Same shit they did with Bitcoin over the years. Exactly the same thing. And the reason is, I am of the opinion, when the economy takes a dump again, as it is doing right freaking not later, the banks, the governments, the arms dealers, the drug dealers, whoever that need, HSBC for money laundering, BCCI for money laundering, all the Clinton, Bush crap, money laundering. They need to have it legitimized by the license or Crown said, boom, it made it through the threshold. Made it through the threshold. Take us through the threshold. And as soon as it does, they're going to legitimize it with some seal of approval, and it is immediately laundered, and they didn't have to move a single pallet of cash. That's what's coming. Guarantee. Okay? So I see when they say it's perfectly legal if you do it the right way, what's the right way? They got this approval. Once it makes it through that threshold, boom. It's certified, done, and clean.
Well, that's what Craig Wright's trying to create. He's trying to create a government-compliant crypto.
Absolutely.
That's what BSV is.
Take it through that threshold.
Yeah, no, he's open about it. He's very open about it. He wants to create a government-compliant crypto. Yeah.
And, I've seen this before. It's like in the 80s and 90s, I used to read a lot of science magazines, and then that's just propaganda. And when it started really becoming obvious propaganda, is that you'd have all these great innovations in tech. Well, look at this great, body armor. Look at this great metal. Look at this great projectile. Look at this great satellite, blah, blah, blah. Look at this great new weapon. Look at this great new whatever it was. They were advertising. It was an advertisement to the military-industrial complex to buy my shit. And then all of a sudden, I didn't get it anymore. When they were talking about hybrid engines in the 80s, a lot of people don't know this. When you had the old Batmobile TV show, Turbines to Speed, it was electric. That was a gas turbine in the back. It was like a cruise missile engine going at a high efficiency of a standard, a steady rate of gas turbine turning jet engine that was powering the electricity. That's why it sounded the way it did. So in the when they had cruise missile engines, when Honeywell out here used to be Gannett, or Gannett or Garnett, whatever the hell it was, started with a G. Anyway, they're out there, Garrett. When Garrett was out there, they were making a gas turbine engine for the M1 tank. And they put it in a diesel truck that we had a Motivity Auto detailing business that we still got. And I was out detailing that for them to do some demonstration or whatever the heck, doesn't matter. They are making these, they call them APCs, alternative power, whatever it is. It's a gas engine, the jet engine that runs on airliners when you're sitting there at the gate. They don't have the big engines on, but they still got to run power and air conditioning and whatever. They're running these little gas turbine engines. Well, Honeywell pumps those out by the gazillions. What do? They have these gas turbine engines they put into a car that runs at the highest efficiency of fuel, and it charges batteries or runs an electric motor. So I've been seeing them promise hybrid technology for cars since the 80s. And when it started, here comes the EV1, who killed the electric car, blah, 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 blah. It was not about that it couldn't be done. The problem was that it could be done. Somebody did not financially benefit from this, and they didn't want it. And they kill it and doing whatever until somebody either just blazes over it, or you can convince them, that they benefit somehow because you got proprietary, patented, it's mine kind of whatever. And I'll guarantee that Craig Wright has patents like you wouldn't freaking believe on Bitcoin SV, that any and every use of anything he can do will be compliant, and he's the only one that can do it, and he's got certification from the Crown. And it's going to be a fiat crypto, and we be your money laundering conduit right here in the name of not money laundering. Because whatever the government calls it or says they're going to do it for, it's always the opposite. It's the War Department becomes the Department of Defense, and then they go offense everybody. I mean, it's a Patriot Act, and it's very unpatriotic. This whole thing is the crypto that's going to be the government is for money laundering by the Crown and their privateer buddies. Garen Ernie freaking Tia.
You know what the government really, really doesn't want? It doesn't want you.
Competition.
It doesn't want you to be able to pay your taxes in a cryptocurrency and then watch where it goes because it's on the blockchain.
Yeah, I gave it to charity.
Which is something that I've been saying should happen into the future if you want,
They're not gonna
more transparent government.
With that
Oh, they're not. No. It's definitely not going to be willingly.
For 20 years.
Well, there's a couple of issues there. So first of all, we still need another 10 to 20 years for Bitcoin to have more, trust and confidence in that system before this can even be attempted. So even if there was a push for this, it's too early.
Why would you even think they would go along with that?
No, they wouldn't. It would be pushed onto them if, the people start.
They're not pushing nothing on these guys. They'll have a mushroom cloud before they'll.
Like, if I say the word elect the right people, it's not going to go very well with this audience. But but like, look, I don't know.
Pirate's life
look,
for me.
That's what should happen. I have no idea if look, this is what we're talking about. What should happen? Government tax revenue. Government tax revenue should run through the Bitcoin blockchain. Technologically, it shouldn't happen yet. The Bitcoin blockchain needs to establish itself some more. In the future, when the Bitcoin blockchain is more stable and we know it's not going anywhere the way the internet isn't going anywhere, yes, government tax revenue should run through the Bitcoin blockchain so it's transparent. How that's going to happen, I have no idea.
It's going to happen when people don't have dollars anymore and Bitcoin is all that they can take.
Sure. Yes, that's one reason. But even
when Bitcoin completely eclipses the dollar as the world reserve currency and the IRS has no choice but to take it because it's all the citizens are using. That's when they'll
not take it. No, the IRS there's actually I think
exactly.
is it your state of Arizona or some other state is already accepting Bitcoin for taxes, right? There are states. It's not about accepting Bitcoin. It's about using the Bitcoin, right? So like it's irrelevant if a state or the country is accepting Bitcoin for tax revenue. It's about them having to be like basically them using Bitcoin to spend it because they don't have another option.
Right. That's more accurate. The government won't begin spending it on projects. The government is currently going to just be putting it into exchanges and getting dollars out. And so it isn't going to be until dollars aren't in the exchanges anymore that they have to spend it.
And how do you price Bitcoin? It's always been priced by dollars. And in 14, I think it was 13, 14. It was a Consumer Electronics Show when that year that they had their 3,500 square foot crypto building.
Mm-hmm.
And there and we did the interviews, and that's when they first started Watch My Bit, you know, where John Bush was doing the Ross Ulbricht trial, putting it up. Well, we did videos from there and we put it up on that, you know, people were paying to do it. I thought it was kind of cool technology. Well, that kind of went because Bitcoin made it impossible for that technology to work because the transaction fees were too high. When it was low, I could go click QR code, boom, my video started playing. It took the crypto and it dispersed it amongst the content providers. Even the drummer got paid. You know, we're all good. Well, when the transaction fee went up, you couldn't do a quarter. Microtransactions weren't a thing anymore. And I'm going, so Bitcoin could not be that. Well, it can be if you do the blah, 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 blah. I'm going, you know, it's never going to be reliable. They built an entire Doug Scribner. Well, because he made all his Bitcoin from selling smoothies at Pork Fest.
Yeah, I know.
You know, I mean, I remember there were 600. You know what you can do with your Bitcoin? You buy a smoothie. And he stood there and he said, yeehaw! He made him some money making smoothies.
Yeah, he's making Bitcoin ATMs now.
I know. He had, you know, he came here and announced we did. They got him.
He's got his own coin now. He's got Ethereum.
Which is doing like jet plane.
Yeah, he tries not to talk to me about that.
Well, I mean, it works or it doesn't. I mean, you know.
I did his lapel pin.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, he got some money. So this is Doug had a really good use case for this, and it required microtransactions, which is what really I think is the innovation of the future. And Bitcoin goes, we don't care about that. We don't care about micropayments. You know, it's a busy restaurant. You just forget that, and it's not going to be getting your latte. I go, okay. Well,
no, that's not true. That's not true.
It's not true.
That's not true. It's not that they don't care. It's that they know that when that technology comes, it needs
to... You want me to pull up shows where you saying you don't care?
No, that's me personally, right? Like, I don't care at this moment. I care into the future. It's just not important now for me.
Bitcoin itself
okay?
doesn't care about anything.
Right. So it's not that the developers of the Bitcoin code don't care about micropayments. Is that they care to get it done properly. And if it takes longer than some people like, so be it, because it will be done properly in a safe way to keep Bitcoin decentralized and keeping demand out of it. Because if you screw up, there's only one, in order for Bitcoin to die, you just need one big mistake. And if avoiding that mistake delays micropayments by a few years, so be it.
We got a 5-year plan.
As I said, all coins are scams because they're not in our plan.
For the record, the Norton is coming back. I just secured NortonPress.com finally, so I'm going to reboot.
I know he's had this all this time. He's been trying to get that, and all of a sudden we found it was available last week, and Derek got it. Boom! There it is.
Wouldn't it be simpler to start a scam coin at this point? You have the technology now.
I mean, like the Norton dollar used to just be a paper coupon that printed in the magazine. You had to cut them out. It was my way of destroying the collector value of the magazines. But like now, I could launch a Norton cryptocurrency of some kind. I don't know what the features.
Is the Norton antivirus going to sue you for name infringement?
No. They can't. Emperor Norton long predates Norton antivirus. It's named after Joshua Norton from the 1880s. Who printed his own money
and declared himself emperor of San Francisco.
San Francisco had its own currency in the 1880s.
Because I remember when Spike Lee sued the channel called Spike, and the channel had to rename itself.
And, this is my point.
Pirates.
Fourth letter of Captain Mark. Go pirate. Because in cyberspace, none of this is going to matter.
There is an actual Norton press that is more likely to, like, textbooks are written by a company called Norton. That's more likely to sue over it, but
if you're lucky.
If I'm lucky.
Yeah, make sure you send them the press release and give them $20.
Well, I'll just do the thing that we talked about. When I receive the cease and desist from them, I'll just publish it in the book and say, new forward from Norton Antivirus and the cease and desist.
Which is what Adam did with his Freedom book. On the back, it was banned by some warden in some prison somewhere.
Good.
Saying, this can't be, it's a warning, it's, not conducive to, me being in control of people, inmates learn about freedom and stuff. So it's banned. He goes, ooh, that's a dude.
But so this is the thing. This is a thing that businesses can do. And even though it is centralized, that doesn't mean that it's not valuable as a coupon. Like, it's a technology that companies can use to self-promote, and lots of people do.
Yeah. Hey, Ernie. Oh, I just realized something because you're probably more in the loop. What's the latest on Cody Wilson?
The only thing that I know is that there was it's February 2nd or so, early February.
Well, I know what happened.
Okay, no.
Yeah.
He's supposed to appear before the court and do whatever. So about a month and a half before that, so like a week or two ago, they came out, new charges filed. We're going to get more of. Yeah, it's the same.
What are the new charges?
It's the same incident. They just added more charges.
Oh, okay.
Because she was, because I don't know, for whatever reason, they just added more. They made up stuff. So it's a negotiation. It's a pressure play. It's like they're trying to get him to plead. They don't want him to go to trial. They don't want all this stuff to come out.
Oh yeah, no, they don't want this on trial. He's got to go to court.
Yeah. So, and they're like, yeah, but we could threaten you with death and damnation and forever and all that. He's like, nah, I think we'll go to trial. So this is going to go to trial unless they give him some sweetheart deal. So I texted him last week, like Friday or something. Bobby got here or something. And I texted him going, okay, you still alive? You there? And he goes, yeah, what up? And I go, look, I need to know this is you. This is you're be hacked. I mean, you just took your phone or number. What makes you think I trust that this is you? And because I know that they are trying to manipulate you with the pressure of yada yada. You got anything to say? And he goes, yeah, we get back together and call me tomorrow. Kind of. And then he didn't answer, and I just kind of blew it up. At least I know he's alive. So it's probably wouldn't be a good idea for me to talk to him before this happens, because
Yeah, I've had him on my show before, but like I'm not that close to him. I know you are closer. Like, and I don't want to have him on my show. I don't want him to incriminate himself somehow on my show, which is live.
That I don't want to damage whatever chances.
Yeah.
But if we really need to get hold of him or something, probably do it through Danny Sesson. Danny does the crypto.
Oh, I know Danny. Yeah.
Yeah, well, they do it out of Defense Distributor did.
Okay.
And so they're buds and so on. But I know that he had several other projects that the government didn't like as much. And that was a whole that. So what they did is they gave him time to focus and work on these others. He turned over Defense Distributed to the group of I'm not CEO anymore, and you kind of peace out. And I guarantee they have no idea what's coming. And I don't even know what it is. I know it's some First Amendment of publishing of everything about everything and somewhere, and they can't, whatever the hell, but it's exactly what Defense Distributed is supposed to be about anyway. So they gave Cody a year to do whatever he wanted to do without interruption. Oh my God, bad idea. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. But it'll be entertainment, and we'll get, one of the early, we get to talk about it, he's a good pirate. Matter of fact, the guy in the first hour, Austin Jones, is doing this Dagny Dagger project, is using a ghost gunner to do it, writing the code, and he's of the same mindset, and he knows the risk that he's taking. I mean, you know what they do in the Cody, right?
Oh, yeah. Yep,
I do. But this is, much bigger, and he doesn't feel that he's as vulnerable. Not out, have trigger babies. So it's and to think that they're not keeping track of. That's why I don't want to communicate with them so much, because anything that we communicate, but it's on Signal, so it's private, right? And they know that you communicate. That he answered, or they did. I mean, whoever the hell was told it. And then I found out from Thomas Costanzo, there's a service that you can communicate with him. Now before it was like you had to pay money to be able to collect calls, and that was a pain in the ass. And now they got a new service to where he can text and email me, through this service. Now, am I expecting that they're surveilling every freaking word between us? Of course they are. Duh. So this is, you think they're not doing the same thing with Cody? Yes, he's a Russian agent of something. Because I remember his biggest problem was money. They kept closing down all his bank accounts, credit card acceptance. But then what did he do? Crypto. I'm telling you, they don't like this crypto. And biggest, the anonymity of it. And anonymity of me having private transactions and being Russian heroin, drug dealing, pedophile, terrorist bomb maker, and SJW hater,
And again,
And you're what? Your position on that is what? You got to be able to track me?
yeah, and Ernie, and again, like you mentioned crypto,
Are
going back
you
to,
for advocating that I be tracked?
well, me?
Yeah.
No. Of course
So
not.
Bitcoin's going to give me that privacy.
Yeah, absolutely.
All
Okay. And
Okay.
and the important property is when, like you just said, Cody turned to crypto because all of his bank accounts were shutting down, and like the moment he got arrested, any money he had in the banking system could have been frozen and taken away from him for the purposes of him not being able to hire a lawyer, so that to force him to flee.
Which they sure as hell want
Right.
to do.
So there's two ways to protect from that. One
And then
is
you got a bunch, and then crypto shot up, and they go, shit.
so there's two ways to protect from that. One of them is to have like gold, silver, or like, I don't know, maybe a bunch of bullets you can resell or guns you can resell, right? Something that holds value in a vault. Right. So you either gotta have a bunch of crypto, gotta have a bunch of gold, maybe silver, but preferably gold, in a vault somewhere that they can't confiscate. But as you saw from the arrest of what's the Adam Kokash, they took the safe, they took the gold and the silver that he had, right? I think it was even on this show when he talked about it. When they took that, so your only other backup source
He just got arrested again, right?
He did? No, I did not.
A couple of weeks ago, he had this book bomb thing. It's called New Orleans, Big Easy Book Bomb, which is New Orleans. It's a project he wanted to do last summer. But he got the money. He raised like $130-something thousand. He had 205,000 copies of his book Freedom produced.
Yeah, I have the book. I have it signed by him.
He took it and had it direct mailed to every mailing address in the city of New Orleans. It just finished this last weekend.
For free.
Yeah. From the 4th to the 11th. It was last week. It got dumped on New Orleans.
Okay.
So he goes, all right. It came out here, and he made a bunch of, like, hundreds of these signs. What is freedom? Freedom, the logo, freedom, freedom, right? So he had a bunch of those done. He went to New Orleans. He had them passed out, and then he took the stencil that they used to make it, and they put it up on a wall, on the sidewalk, a divider, and a highway, anywhere you can go, with a pressure washer, and cleaned behind a dirty sidewalk. So the clean spot is freedom, and all he did was wash the sidewalk
with a
stencil. Okay, yep. So here comes because they did it on the freaking highway. That was, whatever. So as they're doing, we'll just do it on, the highway. So they do it, and all of a sudden, cops pull up behind him. He does a periscope. It's a live thing. He gets there the first day. He had just left here a few days before. He gets there, and they go, yep, what y'all be doing, And they go, and he goes, he hands them a card. I don't submit to any searches. I'm not voluntarily giving you anything. I'm a passenger. Kiss my ass. I don't have to answer anything. So hilarity ensues. They have the other guy. Well, they were going to let us go if you would ID. He goes, yeah, do you believe them? So he's just like, nope, not doing it. So they arrest him, put him in jail for a day or two, and he gets out. Bunch more press. We put a big thing on it. He got arrested. He goes and he shows pictures of him doing it on the sidewalk everywhere, and then everybody in the city gets the book. I think. I asked him, I go, are they getting the book? Yeah, it's going well. Well, he's coming back here this weekend or next weekend or before the end of the month, and he's going to give me the whole spiel on what happened. So I'm just like, good bit. Big Easy Book Bomb. You just, search that, and it'll show up all over the place. And
I'll show you, but that's like a silly arrest. That's not like his last one in Washington.
Yeah, it's a promotional arrest. They dropped charges and let him go. But they still, we got you right. We know who you are. Shit.
Yeah.
We should have not.
Yeah, that's not a go to like federal court arrest, like what happened in his first arrest or what happened to Cody. No, what I was gonna mention
He's
is
a habitual kiss my butter. We gotta put it away forever.
Or that time he was like dancing on like Lincoln Monument or something. But Jefferson. One of those. But this is what I mean about going back to crypto, and this is where that property of being unconfiscatable and being a store of value becomes important once again, because like in the case of Cody Wilson, they could have seized like all of his money in the bank. They could have raided his house and taken the safe with the silver and the gold.
Yeah, he's just stupid. I told him before he did it.
But
on the air, he's on going, this is just stupid.
Right, but this is where you can protect yourself by saving money in crypto. And if you're going to save money in crypto, it has to be saved in money in crypto that is not likely to fall in value and more likely to rise in value over time, which again brings me to this argument as to why I don't like any alternatives besides Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is the store of value, and it maintains that property. I don't know if you know the story of Molly Bloom, if you saw the movie Molly's Game, the poker movie.
What movie?
It's about poker. Like,
yeah, she was running a game.
yeah, she was running a game for celebrities. Yeah, I was on a panel with her, and like part of her story. Have you seen the movie, Davi?
No.
It's really good. You should watch it. It's called Molly's Game. Probably the best movie I've seen in the last 2 years.
The last 6
Yeah,
months.
no, it was 2017.
So is she scamming celebrities in a poker game?
No. So
Scammer.
she was running a poker game for like maybe 5 to 7 years. She started in LA, and then it was in New York.
Did she have a license?
No, she didn't have a license, and this is how it happened.
Therefore, she got busted.
So the thing on gambling, right? So as long as you don't take a cut of the game, she's not breaking any laws. So you can have a poker game in your house for real money, as long as you, as the house, aren't taking a vig. As long as you're not taking a percentage.
You're not taking a rate.
Right, as long as you're not taking a rate.
Cover charge.
Got to be equal odds. Is that the idea? Like you can't play blackjack where the dealer wins. Like it's got to be fair game.
Well, I think can you have a cover
I've
charge?
told them.
You walk in the door, give me $500
How about
and you can have your
a
game all you
5-drink
want.
minimum? Can I sell drinks?
Right.
Well, again, like I'm not sure on those, but like in her specific case, she was running poker games, and
What if I'm taking a cut because I just know I'm a better player?
well, that's not really a cut, right? But so as long as she wasn't taking a rake, she wasn't breaking the law. And her games got really, really big. They got up to like $250,000 buy-ins.
All right.
And at the very end, because she was responsible for so much money and people might not pay, at the very end, she started taking a rake, and which is how she got swept up in the whole, like there were some mobsters playing in those games. And when the mobsters got swept up, she got swept up, and the charges they threw at her was for running an illegal casino, but because she was taking the rake. So once she started taking a rake, that's when she technically broke the law. But they were going after her to try and, rat on the players in the games. So, and they were holding that law against her. But the point is, because I was on a panel with her and we were discussing, and when she got arrested, she had like $3 or $4 million of her legal money that she had paid taxes on that was sitting in the banking system confiscated from her. And then the IRS like put a lien on that money as if she didn't pay taxes on it, which she did. And like she had no money to afford a lawyer. Like she was literally went from having $4 million to broke. And this is where crypto is really, really important and can save you, because if she was, this was probably before crypto. I don't remember when this happened, probably like 5 or 7 years ago.
And she'd have been better off.
Not really. They would have. Then when they arrested her, they searched her whole house. They would have just confiscated that as well, right? Now you could have had that cash hidden somewhere, but you have to think that far ahead, and you have to get to it. But and also if they're monitoring all of your phone calls, they may probably know exactly where you go, and they'll probably find it. But one of the things that I said to her on the panel, which the whole audience loved, is I said, if only you knew about crypto back then, or if it existed back then. I don't think it did. I'm like, if only you had 1 or 2 million in crypto, you could have easily afforded a lawyer because they would not have been able to confiscate that money. But you have to put it in the right crypto to have that protection.
Why? What do you mean? What's the wrong crypto for that?
Well, for me personally, it's anything outside of Bitcoin.
Well, like, okay, so for example, I've got some crypto hidden in this room, right? It was sort of it was an experiment that we did to sort of watch Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash simultaneously. And if I were to be arrested 10 years down the road.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that.
Right. So if I were to be arrested 10 years from now, there's probably
He's got crypto hidden.
There's probably enough there to form a modest legal defense fund.
Right. But my question.
Oh, holy shit! I'm glad that you reminded me. I totally forgot about that.
So this is the point, right? Like,
but which crypto is my question to you?
Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. The point was to watch both of them and sort of like
independently, or is it like old Bitcoin that you can pull Bitcoin Cash out of?
What?
No. It's a paper wallet for both cryptos with the same amount in both cryptos, so that we could watch them like a time capsule.
Right. No. But my side question is it a single private key that's pre-Bitcoin Cash? It's after the fork. So there's two separate private keys.
Wallets.
Okay, and they have the same number of Bitcoin, and now let's say it's 2 Bitcoin and 2 Bitcoin Cash.
Sure.
Okay. So
So I'm saying if I were to be arrested 10 years from now, when that is enough money to be some sort of a substantive legal defense fund, I could call Ernie and be like, hey, man, crack the safe. And like,
I'll publish a public key and say everybody just keep adding to it.
right. So he would know what that was. If somebody was listening to the phone call, they wouldn't necessarily know where he was going to find it. But my point is, why wouldn't the Bitcoin Cash be there? Like the Bitcoin Cash would still be there.
Yeah, it will be there. My point is,
why is that the wrong currency?
Because I expect it to be worthless.
Worthless. There's zero.
Maybe $5 each. Like something something useless for a defense fund.
Okay, but there's no technological reason why that paper wallet wouldn't still have something of value on it if people valued it.
Oh yeah, agreed. Right. There's no. Well, the only is almost agreed. Like 98% agreed. With the 2% being, I don't find Bitcoin Cash to be as technologically adequate as Bitcoin. So the probability of that QR code not being functional on Bitcoin Cash is higher than it is on Bitcoin, because technologically they are way more at risk of, say, a 51% attack that destroys their chain than Bitcoin is.
Okay. So you just mean that you think it is the best long-term investment, and that's why it works for this. You don't mean that, that it's confiscatable the way the dollar is.
Well,
like if I want to put $100,000 in Bitcoin Cash and hide it because I know I'm getting arrested, it's going to stay hidden.
Yes, not the way the dollar is, but it is at a higher chance of being confiscatable than Bitcoin because of its lack of technological competence.
Sure.
Right now, that risk is significantly smaller than the US dollar, but slightly higher than Bitcoin.
Sure.
Okay. So that's basically my argument for this. And I would love, let's not do this on air, but I'm actually really curious on what day. You don't need to tell me the amount of Bitcoin, obviously, but I would love to know what day or at least what month and what year you did that.
It was immediately after the fork.
It was immediately after the fork, right? So immediately after. So I sold my Bitcoin Cash. I thought it was going to be worthless at the start. Clearly, I was wrong on that. So I sold my Bitcoin Cash approximately a week later. I remember I stayed up all night. I'm like, oh my God, I can get 10% for my Bitcoin. I can increase my Bitcoin holdings by 10% by selling Bitcoin Cash at 0.1 Bitcoin.
Right, so you liquidated all your Bitcoin Cash and bought Bitcoin.
Yeah, and I did that approximately.
I separated them and kept them as sort of a balanced teeter-totter just because I wanted to watch it.
Right.
And then people paid me. And I essentially let clients pay me in whatever one they prefer. That's the way I operate.
Sure. And with me, right after, about a week after Bitcoin Cash didn't die and stayed alive after the fork, I spent all night because I wasn't prepared to separate the keys. So I literally stayed up all night and I split the keys as best I could to take all of the Bitcoin Cash. And I actually, like in hindsight, I'm kind of happy that I increased my Bitcoin holdings by 10%. But in order for me to do that, I literally had to break into a private key that I had put away in like 2013 that I had no intention of opening for like 10 years.
Yeah.
And it was considered almost lost by, the system as a lost key. And here's an interesting thing, Ernie. What happened when I broke?
Lost key? The system considered your old
not the system, not the system, but people that like kind of keep an eye on that. It's like, hey, we think these coins are permanently lost, and the longer the time that these coins don't move, the higher the probability that the coins are lost.
Oh well, who cares? You have the keys, you can move.
Well, correct, agreed, right? But no, I agree with you.
Okay,
but
whoa. Somebody lost key?
No.
What are you talking
about?
No, I'm saying that when people watch the blockchain and they see a wallet where the Bitcoin doesn't move for 10 years, they sort of in their head think of that as orphaned coin. They think that it's not moving because
they think somebody lost the password.
When in reality, he's just sitting on it. He still has the password. There's no technological reason to think of it as orphaned coin. But from the outside, it looks like that.
Right. And
then they see the whale spin from that account and they went, whoa.
And then they know it's active. So
it's like the phone that I lost, I lost a phone New Year's 2015 or so. I forget what year it was, but I lost 6 Bitcoin on a phone when I lost my phone, right? And so that from the outside, if you're looking at the blockchain, I can go and look at the address and see that the coin is there, but nobody has any access to it or can move it. So it's orphaned coin. It looks that way from outside.
Yeah, it's lost coin.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the Airbits was nicer to me than blockchain. phone.
Oh, yeah, no. This is right.
It was on there.
Right, and this is why
Blockchain.info, I still got.
I hate it.
I got well, it was the first one that.
Yeah, it was. I used it.
On a
Yep,
phone.
I agree.
But it was. It's a perfect example of you take your risk and you learn what you learn. And I had bad experience. I went to the Texas Bitcoin conference, spoke back in it was a couple years ago, and around Halloween, so like a year ago, this last Halloween, and it really was stark the difference. You had compliance, and then I go to the Nexus thing after that, or Nexus first, and then to the Texas one, and it was definitely compliance and not compliant. Totally different crowd, different mindset, different. The point I wanted to make with that is that I was talking to Paul Play there, and he was going from Airbits to Edge.
Edge, yeah.
And when he was doing that, I remember asking him, going, when the flipping was starting, when Bitcoin Cash had just come out, and we're building up to that November shoot up, and I'm going, look, the guys in the back, they just want to be able to just have it, stored, put their phone, turn it off, take the battery out, put it up later, sit 10 years, turn it on, kind of whatever. Is it going to be there? And he was nervous. He's going, yeah, you might not want to do that, because Airbits, it might be a different technology. You get a couple of weeks to move it, kind of do, this. It's like Bittrex delist MaidSafe coins. They go, well, you got a couple of weeks. If you didn't know about it, you're just screwed, and it's gone. So I'm just like, you sons of bitches, man. So this is I need a forever way of keeping it. Well, then we found out when I went to the Texas Bitcoin conference and I got a Nano S. So I get a Nano. Okay, we'll do this Trezor Nano thing. And the reason I got a Nano is because it had more coins that I could put on. It had a variety where Trezor was only doing Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash, something like that. Now they've added others. But so I get the Nano. So I get the Nano, I set it all up, I go through the crap. This is kind of cool. I mean, it's inconvenient with the kind of, but it works and it's secure, whatever the hell. Then when the flipping thing was going that weekend, I'm trying to move it around. Bitcoin, I had $5,000 in Bitcoin, and it didn't show up on my Nano. I could see the transaction. I could see, but I could. It wouldn't, take it. Wouldn't give it back. It wouldn't give it to me. It wouldn't. I'm like, what the hell? Well, Doug Hodges from Westside Bitcoin, which is now Phoenix Crypto, that you met there, you came over and said, yo, what's up? Doug comes over, and just a couple of days before, he had came across a similar situation where they knew they had the transaction, but they couldn't get the private key. But they had the seed, for the wallet on the Nano and everyththing. So how do you get it? There's this mnemonic 39, whatever the heck it is. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It is, you put in a seed, it's a SHA-256 generator, and if you put the seed in that you would normally put into a wallet, it's open out in the internet land of there it is, and you put in the seed, and it repopulates that wallet. You can see it. All the public and all the private key pairs. You have thousands or unlimited number of these. It's a monkey pounding keyboard thing. I mean, so you have all of the possible permutations of this wallet in any digital pair, on any currency. I mean, it's all there. Of course, you don't know what the hell you're looking at. So I go in and I'm like, shit. So I look on and I go, none of these are in. He goes, well, there's different pages. It was on page 3 of it's like number 200 something transact or digital addresses that was up there. And it was on page 3, there it is. And you hover over the private key and it gave you a QR code and the number for that account. I go, holy crap. And I recovered it. I got it. There it is. I got it. But that Nano S did not take that transmission for some reason. Why? Because it takes a feed on the Explorer out there. It does something that didn't something to something. So I'm going, screw the Nano S and all your hard work bullshit, because I'm back to paper again. Now I'll use it for some convenience of having, whatever. But the like I have the contributions on FreedomsPhoenix in the show go to a Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash and whatever, some of the other stuff up there on my Nano. So I go and looked at it for months. I go, hey, somebody gave me some, okay, that was cool.
Yeah, no, Ernie, I'm with you. I'm actually having a big problem getting into my Trezor. Actually, I can't get into it. I have my backup key that I can use. It's not on me,
You got
but
to another $100 to get one, then you can do it.
But yeah, but I'm having like an issue. Like I can't like get into it. It's weird. Maybe I need a better cord.
And
anyway,
for me to
but that's not
upgrade to the new, because I haven't used it in a long time, it wants you to upgrade the firmware. So I go
that too, which I don't want to do because I've heard stories that like deleted the keys.
Absolutely.
So look, I'm not a fan.
I had to totally
Yeah.
wipe off everything.
Right. I'm not.
It,
Look, I'm not a
upload
look.
the firmware,
Honestly,
then add my seat.
Like,
and Dobby
Ernie.
sat there and watched me. Dobby sat there and watched me put in all of the key, probably 3 times, 24 words with this little button thing, and every mistake you made, you had to start over.
Right. It's terrible. No. The storage of Bitcoin is terrible. The technology of Bitcoin storage is horrendous. Okay, I hate them all. I have not found a single one that I like. I don't like paper either. I'm scared that the paper will get destroyed in the fire. I don't like any solution that we have. I'm using my most convenient solutions, which unfortunately is still Trezor and Ledger.
I tell you what my
I'm
son
waiting.
does. He's a miner, and he's got it going on. He uses a brainwash. Because you can do the same thing.
Those were discovered to be very breakable, unfortunately.
Well, I mean, you got to be freaking creative, brainy to do it. Do something you remember of whatever.
And there's a new one. There's a new one called Cold Card. I haven't gotten it yet. It's waiting for me in Vegas, where I'm going to pick it up. Hopefully that one is better than all my other solutions. I'm not a fan of them. And I do like Airbits, though, because that's the only one I feel comfortable with. If I lose my phone and I lose it all, that one's in my head. Airbits is my brain wallet. Well, no, Edge. But yes. No, storage of Bitcoin is very difficult.
This is one.
But that's a problem across all crypto. Now, that has nothing to do with Bitcoin. That's just crypto in general. That's a universal problem.
And this is where I give Paul Play credit. At the time, and I want to, I don't want to pick on just one guy, but his initials are Christoph Atlas. And I go to Christoph, he's out of Philadelphia. He's in the movement. He's kind of a Ron Pauly guy, friend of James, kind of whatever, knew all about crypto. This is early on. This is like in 11, 12, around there. So, which is what, 8 years ago. Holy shit. So having him come on, he's like, I go, man, I need a grandma adjust button. Well, know what grandma needs is to hire me as a consultant to take care of it and do it, because I'm a crypto geek. If I can do it, and it's just button of Linux and Bitcoin and whatever in crypto, if you just need you adjust this and you adjust that, and you don't know how to adjust it, then you need to hire me as a consultant to adjust it for you. And I'm going, nah, I need a easy graphic user interface. I don't need command line terminal, blah, blah, blah. Give me a freaking window icon if I'm grandma. And I go, when that happens, that's going to be your wide adoption. All you guys wanting sanction from the crown to say it's okay, you're looking for that. I think that's a big, giant mistake. I need to have grandma adjust button technology for my wife. And they go, nah, you can't. I go, so I use him as I pick on him because I use him as an example because he had that attitude of exactly what I was talking about. It was Davi and Drew that said, hey, man, in San Francisco, we met this guy you need to talk to. It was Paul Play. That's when that happened. And we were at Libertopia, and Paul and I got to hang next. We had, tables next to each other for 2-3 days. And we went to their party and we did how they were doing their directory and how they did. And he and his history and the early shows that I did with him, you listen to those. It was, I want to, know your first memory when you were 3 kind of thing. And what happened is that he is a more mature guy in the space. At the time, he was like 38 or something, in his late 30s, had been a coder, got carpal tunnel syndrome from just doing so much coding, went into the restaurant business. So he's in the restaurant business, running restaurants, whatever, and then here comes crypto. He goes back in, he gets out there, and he goes, I see what the problem is. These young kids, they think it being complicated is a feature, not a bug. And he goes, it's graphic user freaking interface. It's a grandma adjustment. And I'm going, you my new freaking best friend, because he at least understood the value of wide adoption being ease of use. You have all the security and all this other stuff that he's done very well. He didn't abandon any of that. He understood the importance of that. But to make it simple was where he brought in the team of guys making it where it freaking worked. And I'm thank God. And if I bitch about something enough, being it anonymity, speed, whatever the second letter and third letter of Captain Mark is, if I do that and bitch enough, I'm going to get it because it's coming anyway. It's a free market thing. So no doubt in my mind, everything that I want is coming. Now, some people wanted me to go, oh, we're it. So do I go to Tone and say, hey, Tone, what do you think of Scamcoin?
Well, right,
which is what I need you for. I'm going, give me real evaluation on, nope, they're just scam.
Well, they are because, Paul,
what use are you to me?
But Paul didn't make a coin. Paul built a product for Bitcoin.
No, I know, but I mean,
that's not the same.
Well, it's like Horizon. Are they going to be able to give me the
Well, that's the thing. Well,
are they?
Look, probably not. I don't know. Do they have a scam coin? If the answer is yes, then no, they're not going to be able to do it, right?
I don't know.
Like,
Yes.
Are they building a product or are they printing their own money?
Scam coin. It's not Bitcoin scam.
Right. Are they building you a feature,
they got the
or are they
network.
printing their own money?
They got nodes of, last I checked, it was like 18,000 or something.
Complete lie. It's an obvious lie. Yeah. It's an obvious lie, Ernie. They have it's them running nodes, right? Like if I print enough money and then I buy a bunch of nodes through Amazon, I can then claim that I have the most number of nodes. But they're not people, they're not users. It's the company's nodes. That doesn't count.
I'm not sure if it facilitates privacy.
But it doesn't.
I'm looking for. Okay.
I mean, if one person owns 90% of the nodes, it actually removes privacy, doesn't create it.
And you got some technical because backs it up, other than you just reading a 3x5 card or somebody send you something that's Bitcoin, everything else scam.
At the end of the day, if you're printing your own money, that you're not building a product, you're just trying to get rich on printing your own money. And to me, that's what every coin is doing. Like Paul Poi built a product. He built a very useful product. Now, the hardcore core developer guys, they're not too happy with this product because they think it's not secure in the way that, because he's storing your password on his server. Which is not how the other wallets do it. That's not how Trezor does it. That's not how the other wallets do it, right? So there is some criticism there, but I like his wallet. I use his wallet for the ease of use. But there has to be a better, hopefully in the future, someone will design a better combination of the two.
I have Airbit still, I have Edge, and the one I probably use more than most now is Coinomic, only because
I don't know that one.
It has multiple currencies I can put on there.
Well, Airbit, Edge does as well.
Edge does as well. Well, it didn't have the ones that I need, and it interfaced with Shapeshift and Change. But now it's all KYC, and you got it, and I'm like, never mind.
Right.
So what's the difference now?
Right.
So my thing is, I don't trade that much anymore. I got miners. I got friends that when it's cold, now it's cold, I can sit there and look. I got miners at their home that they turn on at about 10 o'clock at night for an hour. They got a timer or something, and in the morning 6 to 8 or whatever, because they got solar, and they're, instead of turning on the heater, they turn on my miners, and that's their contribution because they got free electricity anyway. So I go, how much does it make? Don't care. It's free and it provides me heat. Ain't going to be doing it in the summer, I got friends in Washington State. I got friends here. I got friends in Boston. I got friends in Maine. I got friends, I'm going, here's an S9. Peace out. It's better than just sitting there. They get heat. They don't freeze their basement. And I get a few dollars in, crypto. Boom.
Yeah, no, I have a miner running in PA for the same exact reason. But I just want to quickly jump back to how this conversation got started. And when I had to break in to a private key from 2013 that I had put away with the intention of not touching for 10 years, okay? That private key was only supposed to have one transaction in it. I created a brand new wallet. I didn't tell anyone. This is back in 2013. I think it was before I even knew anyone in crypto, except, the person that I happened to get the Bitcoins from. I created a wallet. I put in some Bitcoin in it, and I wasn't going to touch it. But then because I got greedy and I wanted to sell my Bitcoin Cash to increase my Bitcoin holdings by 10%, I broke into that wallet and I look at it and I'm like, why the hell are there 3 transactions in this wallet? It was only supposed to be one transaction, just me putting X amount of Bitcoin in. What were those other 2 transactions? Those other 2 transactions was more Bitcoin sent to my wallet by someone I don't know. And those 2 transactions were for one Satoshi each. So 2 transactions. So remember that whole thing I was saying about the spam and the stress test and when the transaction fee got out of control to $100? During that point in time, my wallet that has not been used, that wasn't used for 3 to 4 years, got spammed with 2 single Satoshi transactions.
They were just scanning the network.
Correct. They were scanning the network for old wallets that they did not expect to be noticed because they didn't expect anyone to be watching them because that wallet had not moved for years. And those transactions had they were so data heavy. They had such large number of inputs. So by those 2 Satoshi transactions being in there, let's say that wallet had 1 Bitcoin, but now it had 1 Bitcoin plus 2 Satoshis. By having those 2 additional Satoshis, it cost me, instead of having it cost me maybe 5 cents to move that 1 Bitcoin out, it now cost me like $5. Because those transactions for 1 Satoshi, they had so much weight, and that pissed me off so much. And that's how I can personally prove, though I can't because I didn't take screenshots and I don't remember what that QR was. Right. But I could have. But like I remember, oh my God, this is how the spam got out of control.
No. The spam, it's not just spam. But if they wanted to spam, they would just do that with,
Well, that's what they did.
1 wallet. I mean, they don't need, to have wallets they don't know. That is a security thing. They're going after on this big, giant number of whatever, and you're just sitting there trying to send a transaction on the network. And ping, this one took it. And because there is a wallet sitting there, well, when it takes it, you go, what's the address that took it? How much is in there? You can see how much is in there. It's on the chain.
Right. But
if it's enough Bitcoin, then it may be worth, we're guessing private keys. I already know your address, so I put it on my quantum over here.
Oh, no, that's not how it works. That's not how it works.
Really?
That's not how it works. No.
If I got the private key.
You don't. But you don't have the private key. No, that's not how it works.
If anything,
that's
it's
not how it
scanning
works.
to see when it moves again, to see if it's an active wallet.
I'm wondering if they discovered that there's a wallet there. They got a private. They know which ones to kind of, I want to find a private key to.
But they can't find a private key. Like that's the thing. Like they found a public key that had Bitcoin in it. That's public information.
So now we know which one they want to try and get.
We know all the public keys that have a Bitcoin in them, right? They threw heavy transactions into those keys because it also clogs up the network, sending them into those keys. And then
let me ask you a technical question.
Yeah.
You'll see my point. I go through and I'm looking for public keys that have a shitload of money.
Yeah, we know Satoshi has like
God
knows
that?
how many. What do you mean? People know which are the very early public keys.
Okay, but how do you know what that key is? I mean, it's not like he's got to publicly do it or have it out somewhere.
The public key
very
is
easy
on
to
the
find.
ledger.
Yeah,
That's
they're
what
all
the
public.
is.
But that's why they're called public keys. We know where all the Bitcoins are in public keys.
Okay, so I go to a public key and I know that
it has a million Bitcoin in it. Yeah.
I want the big one. I want the big one. Okay, there it is. Right?
Yeah.
I know which one it is.
Yeah.
That one's worth, going after trying to get the private key for that.
Yep.
Now I gotta find the one atom in the universe of atoms that's going to unlock that public key.
Yes.
So
yes,
that's the one that I want to keep guessing.
Well, you haven't found any useful information to help you guess. Like the ledger
No.
itself.
I just, a public key, if I just do a public key, any one that it opens, it just opens.
What do you mean?
I got a public key, it just opens whatever private key, and that it just opens any public key to that.
You can go to blockchain.info and look at the contents of every public wallet. And the activity of every public wallet. That's what a public ledger is.
So it lists all of the public wallets that have been banned.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because when I do that, SHA-256,
or
I
at
get a
least
digital.
all of them that have any Bitcoin in them. If you created a new public wallet and there's nothing in it, I'm not sure that would even appear on the ledger.
I get a digital pair. That digital pair is, with this, because if I look at, when I do this SHA-256 thing, that mnemonic 39, whatever, let me share this with the audience. I'll show you what I'm talking about. You'll see why. This is a good technical question to make sure I understand this more. But this is the reason I want to bring this up is because this is exactly what I'm concerned with quantum computing. If it can do this, all right. I pull this up here, and it's called menu. mnemonic 39. Seed phrase, Bitcoin. There it is. BIP 39 mnemonic code. Ian Pullman. This is it. MNEMONIC code. All right, put this in. Go ahead and do it right now.
In Google.
BIP 39
Sure.
Coleman. I bet BIP 39 Coleman, it'll come up.
Yeah.
Okay. So I go in here, and if I, pull that up, and I can put in, this is how it works. I type in, blah, 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 blah. I put in whatever, phrase, in there. It creates a QR code. There's a QR code.
So that's a public wallet now.
Yeah, and then it creates well, no, I mean, it's not SHA-256. It creates, for whatever the hell I put in there, SHA-256, an algorithm, it does this, and then minus that, and plus that, it creates something. So now you got to have a legitimate, code in there. So I can go and get any Bitcoin wallet that I can put in here, and then it gives me the entire tree, okay? Now I can do a passphrase. I can do that. This would be like a brain wallet. I go yada 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 yada.
Yeah, you can create your own wallet. Yeah.
Right. So I do that, and I go enter done. Okay. So then it creates a path of whatever. So when it does that, I'm going, all right. I need to see. I go generate. All right. It says generate me a random mnemonic. I go 15 words. Like some wallet that does whatever. So here's the seed, here's the root, and then I want to go look at the accounts that it created. Look at this, derived addresses, okay? So it has an address, it has a public key, and I click on it. Yeah, I click on it, and it gives me a QR code. Okay, you see that QR code?
Yeah.
That's my public key. The private key is this over here. I go private key. There's the private key to that public address.
Yeah.
Now, I just created a wallet that I can do based on whatever gobbledygook I put up here, okay? Or I have them give me, a 15-word random whatever. And this is my passphrase. Now, the mnemonic, it has the words in there. Talent, inform, energy, consensus, mouse, hand, wrist, reduce, snow, toe, spy, surround, clown, sponsor, skirt. I put all those in there in that order.
Maybe don't use this wallet.
Yeah, you may not want to use it.
So I got that, and it randomized, and it made a wallet. This is how Trezor or Nano works.
Yeah.
It just randomly does whatever, and you get
Yes.
your little password or whatever, and you can populate.
Yes.
Here you go.
Now remember, you did this on a website, so they know exactly what you did. So I wouldn't advise them you using this in the future to save any money in.
It is the demonstration of this.
Yes.
But using this on this, now that's one thing, like when you do Bitcoin paper wallets, this is how I did it. You buy a piece of crap $200 laptop and a $60, and because I bought the laptop, you got a free printer, okay? You buy any laptop, you get a free this free printer that they have. So I paid $180-something. Frank and I went down. We needed to, because we were doing all this, Steel wallet and got our Trezors, when the flipping was happening. So I go, all right, we went down. I said, yep, this is how you do paper wallets, but you can't do it online. You can't do it, over an internet connection. You can't do it with the printer ever going online and the memory.
Yeah, it's not safe.
So we go and we buy a laptop, got our free printer, set it up, and I took a brand new USB drive and I downloaded that generator code, whatever the thing, onto that flash drive, put the flash drive into that computer, turned it on, never used it, never Wi-Fi, never updated, never did nothing. And I loaded that onto the desktop, so whenever I go and make a Bitcoin paper wallet, I turn that on, I create the Bitcoin paper wallet, print it out.
Mm-hmm.
They're up at the shelf in the gun room. They never go online. They never do nothing but make Bitcoin paper wallets, and that's what Davi uses for his little secret whatever.
Right.
Okay. So, what I had on the Nano, is that this transaction did not show up, and I'm going, what the hell? So Doug learned that if you go in here and you put in your words, it will create, from the words that I had on the If I go generate, new, I'll go just refresh this page. Now you can download the software. Like Toad said, I wouldn't suggest that you go on and do it on your computer because anything that you can see on your screen, they them those same. Okay, so this is like you want to download this, and I think you can get it for more info. See, go to GitHub and you can download and run it on your computer that's never been online, that kind of thing. You want to be all secret, so you do that. Now, what I did is I go in here. Now, the fact that I did it, they probably know my nano now, whatever. But so I've already kind of gave up on that. I just paid for the sucker. So you go in. How many words do I want to do? Well, the nano has 24. So I go generate. Boom. Do 24. Just give me some random whatever. All right. Here's all these words. Now I got these wallets down here. So I went to which page? It goes. It's got show 20. And it goes, and I show more, and the next, now I can go more rows. There it's got a whole bunch. All right, now how many do I have? I want to show more. And finally, I went down this public address list right here. I go there, click on it, QR code. I finally go in, boom, there it is. That was the address of that transaction, and that was the public address with the private address. And I took that private address and I scanned it with my phone. Boom. I got my Bitcoin.
You're recapturing the private keys.
But the nano failed to have them. How the hell do you get them? Now, what happened is the guy that sent them to me, because we were doing something else, it was some other totally unrelated, but, I needed, it was substantial. It was like, it was enough, but it was for something else, Okay. He just wanted me to do something for him, go get whatever, just long story. But the point is that it was substantial. It was a chunk of money. I'm like, where the fuck? What the hell? So I'm going, God, man, help me out, Doug. I can see that he did it. I can see the transaction, but it doesn't show up on my wallet. How am I going? We just found out about this. We found it in this seed that had all of them. You can go on and on for gazillions and millions of, digital pairs. That's it. This is your tree. This is your generation. It just keeps going on and on and on. So fortunately, because it was in the top 3 pages of this or something, because it was a new device and it starts at the top and it goes, and fortunately it's not that random. I mean, it puts them in order or something. So then I go, all right, there's the private key. So I go, boom, I put it up there, scanned it in, scraped it off, swept it, got it. Whew, thank God.
Right. Well, okay? that's a logical problem. That's a front end problem. Like,
I don't give a shit what problem it was. This is
right.
My problem. I didn't have access to it.
Right. No, I'm with you.
Paper wallets. So then I go, all right. Now, if I had this public key, if I already know, which is why they say it's a security problem, if I put, like on FreedomsPhoenix, you go and look at my public wallet, it says there's 0 in there because it's a widget that automatically, every time somebody uses it, it changes. It's dynamic. It changes that public key every time.
No, that's not.
What do you mean, no? You're going to call Derek and have him tell me
that it creates a new public key the next time you want to send money into that wallet as a security feature, so you're not sending money to the same wallet.
Yes.
But when you have Bitcoin in a public key, that is known to the whole world and how much is in it. So, for example, I'm looking at a website right now.
But it's not on my webpage. Every time somebody gives me money on FreedomsPhoenix, it changes that QR code. Now, if you sit there and babysit it, and you screenshot every single day up there, and and you got an old one, and you go, it's different, and this one has, well, yeah, you can do that.
Yes.
But you can't go on my page right now and go, how much money does Ernie have in this wallet? It's going to say 0 because it's
correct
because it hasn't been used, and when you use it, it changes.
Correct.
Okay.
That was a security feature that was put in why to give more anonymity to transactions.
So that
because you're not publishing and making public the public key. Why is that a problem?
No, you're making it public. So what they did was originally, when you have a wallet, it only had 1 key. But people realized fairly quickly, wait a minute, this is kind of dangerous if you only have the same bank account every time. So that was, I think it came in like 2012 or 2013. When I first come into the space, this was a new thing, high deterministic wallets, where you have the same wallet, but every time you take money in, it generates a new public key. And the reason that happened is because your public key is public. Now, there's still lots of wallets, and you even know which one. I bet you all of those keys, the public keys, start with the number 3.
No, but what's your point?
They start with a 1 or a 3.
It's 033, 039, 02.
Public, not private, public.
Yeah, 02B, 2F, 02B. I mean, they're different.
Public keys usually start with a 1 or a 3. I don't think we're talking about the same thing. But
now the address, this address, whatever the hell this address thing is, address is 18.
There you go.
Well, 1B, 17, 19.
Right, but how did the Instant wallets also start with the 1? Like the SegWit stuff starts with a 3. So basically, that was a push to give the person collecting Bitcoin a little more privacy so that they're not constantly displaying the same wallet. Now, but I'm looking at a website right now. So 5 public keys have 3.5% of all Bitcoin in existence. 5 keys, 5 public keys. How big? So I'm looking at a key, and it has a name. It's the Bitfinex Cold Wallet. It's a single public key.
On the mic,
yeah, it's a single public key that has 138,000 Bitcoin in it. Okay.
Yeah, that was mine.
Yeah, we all wish. And you can look at this key. So there is a public key that has 130,000 Bitcoin. Okay,
now why is that
that's
bad
$500 million. So, well, the point is, if people were scared that quantum computers were going to get the password, they wouldn't do that.
See, this is my point. The public key, the half of the problem is it's as difficult because you have, all right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do a draw thing. I've never done this before, but I need to be able to because this is one thing that I think a lot of people don't understand. And I want to, this is how I understand it. You can correct me if I'm wrong. All right.
Now,
yeah.
The more interesting thing is the second key on that list. The second key on that list, it doesn't say whose wallet it is on the website. So maybe it's unknown. And that one has 130,000 Bitcoin, and it only had 4 transactions. Only 4 transactions went into this public key, and all of these transactions have been made in the last month. So there was a new public key that came into existence at the very end of December, probably for tax reasons, December 20th, right before the end of year. And with 4 transactions, 130,000 Bitcoin is in that key.
Yeah, it's in some trust if I didn't lose my capital.
It's probably an exchange.
Yes.
It's probably like maybe Coinbase or something. I don't know. But it could be an exchange or it could be a single person. The point is no one knows. But knowing that there is 130,000 Bitcoin in this one public key obviously creates an incentive for someone to say, I'm going to try and use my quantum computer to guess the private key to steal the money.
Okay, now let me show you what I'm talking about. SHA-256 is a finite integer, a number. It's 0, we got 0, and this freaking, about infinity number. I mean, it's, freaking, big ass number over here. All right. Now it's not an infinite number, but like atoms in the universe number, big ass number I'm showing here. Now, whatever you put in variables, the Merkle root, you got the transactions, because in a block, this is a lot of people don't know. I wish I had like a pin thing. But you have a few things. One, you got the version that you're on. All right. It is Bitcoin and not Bitcoin Cash, and it's this version of the miners all decide whatever. You got the version. Then you got the previous block. PB. You got that information. Here's the previous block so that it can link to the previous block. That's why I call it a blockchain. Because if you're not linking to the previous block, then it's not part of the blockchain. And at the end of this, it gets a significant number of whatever. So the next one can be built on it, blah, blah, blah. So you get that. Then you have the Merkle root, which is all the transactions. You got, we'll just put T. The transactions are all of the transactions that were put in there, and then it runs through its own little algorithm thing of blah, 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 and it comes out with a value. See, how can you, I always ask, how in the hell are you getting, thousands and thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of transactions on a blockchain? How the hell do you get that in 1 megabyte? That's just bullshit. What they do is like you take a 5 gig DVD, and then you run it through SHA-256, and it produces a number. You're not storing the movie on there. You're just storing a hash that movie is that movie. All that data in there, all the little pixels and the ones and zeros and everything, it creates a specific number. And that number is what validates it. Why? Because this is the one. That doesn't mean somebody can't have a copy of the movie. It means that this is the official movie, or this game doesn't have a virus in it. Or you're downloading this program that matches this hash. Now, then and hashing is cryptography. It's not cryptography. It's a function of cryptography. And the function of it is running it through this, SHA-256 thing and coming out with a number, all right? Then they got time. We'll just put a clock. So we got, time. So this time here, there is a time that I can put in there, and it's 7,200 seconds. I got 7,200 variables that I can put in. All right? I go like 7,200 variables. Then I have the nonsense number. That's what that stands for, I think. It's just a blah, blah, blah freaking number that's, 4 to the 5. It's about 4.3 billion numbers, okay? It comes out to, it's 4.3 billion. All right, billion numbers. All right, so I got the version. I got the previous block. I have the transactions, all the stuff that's in it. It's a variable. You change one transaction, it changes one itty bitty little 1 and 0 and everything to run through the SHA-256 thing. I got 7,200 variables of time, just a number I changed. And then I got this nonsense number, this nonce, 4.3 billion it comes out to about, all right? So you go, all right, there is so much hash power that what's happening is they're guessing all of these combinations. So all of this combination, they're going, all right, I guess one. All right? That transaction, I got to change something. Now, it didn't win. So I changed this to 1, up to 7,200. Well, then after I do that, I got to change something else. I changed this nonsense number of 4 billion thing. So I got 4 billion, numbers I can do on the nonce. Then I got 7,200 times the 4 billion that I can do. Then I got, the transaction. If I have so much hashing power that's guessing all these numbers that get below a target number, we'll get to that in a second, I have to add a transaction. I have to change something in that Merkle root so I can start all over. And there's a gazillion, they go, how many terahashes per second is one of these S9 miners? It's like 13.5 terahashes a second, which is a big ass number. And you put a shitload of them, then you start getting a giga, pico, whatever pack of super number guessing. So you have all this processing. So I'm going, all right, guessing what? A number? No. You got monkeys throwing darts. That's what because you get nothing from having that public key or private key. You don't get any. It's just random throwing out. That's what makes SHA-256 work. It's just random. Nothing you do, any change, you have no idea where it's going to hit. Boom, going to, hit, there and there and there and there and there and there and there, there and there and there on this big ass, long ass number. Now, 255, you go SHA-255. Wrong with the mouse. All right, SHA-255 is here. It's half of 256. 254 is here. 254. You see my point? So it goes double as here, then it doubles that, then it doubles that, then it doubles that, and it goes on and on. By the time you get to 1054, it's a big-ass number. Will that thwart quantum? Probably not. I mean, you just keep adding more, and quantum sees everything everywhere all the time, and you're screwed. And that's why I think they're whistling past the graveyard, because they see everything, not only on a line, but in three-dimensional space. They see it, this way, and vertically this way, and a whole sphere. It's got it going on. So I'm going, yeah, that's I'm not thinking that it's going to survive quantum, but we'll see. So then you have all these guesses. Well, what happens is there's one more variable, and it's called the difficulty. Okay, this diff number is what? What that difficulty is, how many numbers above and below the number is good. Okay, because everything to the right of it, they always go, well, how many leading zeros? Because they heard somebody say that. Well, the difficulty is how many leading zeros on the number of the leading zero. And goes, what the F does that even freaking mean? What the hell are you talking about? Explain it to Grandpa. Well, then you can tell they don't know. They just repeat what somebody told them because they can't do the graphics. I love having these physics and quantum physics guys on and everything. When I can explain it and explain it to somebody else, then I know what the hell's going on. All right. So this difficulty determines where this line is. Now, if I have 50% of the guesses that you have, and then the time of the average time is 10 minutes. Okay, they put it here. We want 10 minutes. Now, when the average time comes below and it's 8 minutes, this is what happens. If I got, and you have one computer out there that's guessing this number, it doesn't matter if it was a laptop back in the day, because randomly it's guessing. It goes here, 50% chance it was on the right side of the number, 50% chance it's on the left. You have 2 computers, 3 computers, 50 computers guessing how many times in 10 minutes can it guess. On a laptop, it can only guess so many times. So then they start adding graphics computers. Then came ASICs, application-specific integrated circuit, to do nothing but use electricity to make this guess. Then we're into a Dyson sphere of funding of, the electricity of, oh my God, you get a limitation of just electricity, cost of, blah, blah, blah. And the reason they do that is because you need randomness in the system. You need entropy. You need something burned. That's the math behind this is that you get out and go, well, you need entropy in the system. What the hell does that mean? You need some randomness. Something has to be burned, has to be used up to create the random. What? Electricity, electrons. That's just the way it works out. Well, explain to me. All right, I trust you. You got to do something. So, all right, it's proof of work. So that's where the electrons come from. You have to have some kind of proof of work. Something has to move. Something has to be calculated. Something has to be done, and it happens to be electricity that does it. Okay? So you go, all right, fine. So now we got this 10-minute thing. If it is below the average after 2 weeks, this 10-minute thing is higher. It's 11. Guess what? This difficulty over here goes down. If it's less than 10 minutes, it goes up. And because there's so much guessing going on out there, it continually kept going up. The difficulty got more and more difficult, which means what? To get an average of 10 minutes where you were guessing, you had to take you 10 minutes to guess. So we're way paper thin down here. Monkeys throwing darts, all of these don't mean squat. Because it has to be, and if you look at this, you kind of zoom in on it, and you got 0 here, and then it goes to infinity over here. Now this little line here is here. So this is the width of a, molecule or something, of numbers. It could still represent trillions and trillions and trillions of numbers, because this is all atoms in the universe numbers. And you have to hit down here. Well, it gets more, so it has to be this, and this, and this, and this. And it can get down to where there's one number, the number 1. What happens when you have the speed of guessing all these numbers gets to the point to where there's only one number and it always knows what that number is because it can guess it. Boom. Because it just does it so fast. Quantum computers. That's what's coming. So what they're doing is they're going, we need to make this bigger, 1054. 5,000 and whatever. It's an infinite number of infinite scale of an infinite of infinite, because it's just because you're having quantum computers that can do so many guesses, it already knows all the numbers at one time. It's just, putting out the numbers. Which one of these match that wallet? Then you go over here and I go, all right, where's the wallet? Boom. If I already know the public address, then I'm just looking for the private address. For the private address, I just guess in all private addresses. Do I just guess all private addresses? And which one does it open? Well, they're all mine now. Boom, they're mine now. That's how fast can I get my wallet? And it's mine. And I moved around, it's mine. See my point? So I'm going, this is what the concern is. And people, and it's easy for, once I had this explained to me, I go, it's just how fast can you guess all the numbers on that line? Because this right here, when you do a block, what is it that you're creating? A number. And it's how many bullets? Now, 256 in your wallet is a whole different thing from this. This is what they don't explain. SHA-256, when you do it, it does this. It creates a loop. Tighter, it goes like this. Big one, it goes like this. And it has a digital pair. Public, private. There are two atoms in the universe that are entangled mathematically. So whenever you change any one little period or whatever on anything of anything, be it a file, you want to make sure that the hash matches, the digital pair, because it doesn't have a virus in on the new game that you're pirating of whatever the hell, or a movie or a program or whatever. That's why they have these hashes up there to validate that it is the one that matches this, that you trust the guy that this is the one that you want. Okay? That's why they do the hashing thing. You have a hashing index table, then you got to trust that. All right? So the difficulty here changes that number of where it is on this infinite line that goes down to the left or right. So when they have it's not a target number that you're guessing, it's a target number that any guess below that is correct. That's what you have to understand. I thought they were trying to find a number. They're not. They're trying to find any number below that. That's what they're looking for. So the difficulty moves this number all the way down over here. Be live in space. And that's what I try to explain to my kids. I go, my grandson, he's all into space and big and plants and how big, space and big. My granddaughter, she was more interested in small. She's like, you get in the cell and then proteins and molecules and atoms and subatomic particles. Oh my God, you can go small. And for them, and help me, and for them to understand, there is no number that you can give me that I can't cut in half or double. Infinite small, infinite large. But in SHA-256 or any algorithm, it's a finite number. There's 0 and there's whatever the 256 number is. So in there, it's a hashing power of guessing what the target number and everything below it is good. And they move that to keep it at an average of 10 minutes every 2 weeks. That's how it works. Now, when the flipping in started happening, all that hash power with the Bitcoin Cash, all of a sudden, they had to wait 2 weeks before they could reset the difficulty on Bitcoin. 2 weeks were waiting, hundreds of thousands of transactions. Why? Because they didn't have the hash power to guess that number.
That's not true.
Let me go ahead and finish. They didn't have the hash power to guess that number. So what did Bitcoin Cash do? Bitcoin Cash says, if 12 hours go by and they haven't discovered a block, it recalculates this difficulty here so that you don't run into that problem. That was the innovation that they came in, because if this shift, because they knew it was going to shift back, all that hashing power go from Bitcoin Cash, run back over to Bitcoin if and when it did. Well, when it does, then Bitcoin Cash would be sitting there waiting for 2 weeks before it recalculates.
That's not innovation, Ernie. It's just not That's not innovation. That's changing one variable in a math formula.
Fix it.
That's not innovation.
Fix it.
It's not even a fix. It was a hack.
Did it or did it not happen?
But
did I have to wait for the difficulty to change because the hash power had gone away from Bitcoin? Either I did or I didn't.
You didn't have to wait. You were spending a useless currency that's gone down in value 80% against Bitcoin.
So am I incorrect in what I said?
Well, you're incorrect in that in the two things that I mentioned, right?
What? The hash power, did the hash power on Bitcoin go down, yes or no?
Marginally, a little tiny bit.
Did it cause it to take longer to discover? And it wasn't 10 minutes, it was more than 10 minutes.
10 minutes and 10 seconds. It was marginally lower. Like it was insignificantly lower.
And then why was there, well, the reason that you had so many
spam
back up was because
of the spam.
There was transactions that weren't getting put in because of this Merkle tree here. See, that's another thing. Like this is how you get in the Merkle tree, all right, the Merkle root. What that is, these transactions, every time they change them, some people, they would mine without transactions because changing the transactions, they thought took them, there wasn't enough transaction fees in there. They didn't care. They thought that by just doing these variables without transaction, they were just, guessing as much as they could. Maybe they had transaction when they had to, because the power of doing even that Merkle root calculation took time, and they didn't want to waste the time. It wasn't worth the transaction fee.
Correct. And big blocks make that worse.
So then, So they just go, no, we don't want to deal with that. So they did, but then transaction fees start getting, hey man, I want a little bit of that transaction fee, man. I need me some transaction fee, especially when the transaction fee.
Right.
Which is why they want it to be
right. Being against SegWit is being for higher fees. SegWit,
probably.
Right. So
if I like SegWit for other reasons or whatever, let me finish. Because this is some people never saw. They don't know how this whole thing was about. This is I went through 18 hours, 6 in the morning to midnight, and it ended down to a 9-hour show with Colin Cantrell telling me everything about Bitcoin and didn't even get the Nexus until another day he came in.
That's the last person I would be listening to about Bitcoin. Is Colin Cantrell.
He either knew the technical ability of how it worked or he did not, and he did enough to create his own for whatever reason. So this is the explained, the technical thing to me. Go listen to the show and you make your own choice. Now, in this Merkle root thing, when you put all this stuff in there, you're going, all right, these transactions, which ones do I want to put in there? That's where the backup happened. Because I, as a miner, can pick which, no question mark there, which transactions am I putting into this? The ones that pay me the most money. So I go, I set the criteria. I only want the pool, the mempool of the pool of all transactions go into this big bucket. And I go, which ones do I want? I'm not taking any that don't pay at least $1 in transaction. I'm not taking any that don't pay at least a quarter. I'm not taking any that don't pay at least $25. I'm not taking it. That's exactly what happened. So all those transactions that didn't get confirmed, even though they discovered a block, even though they didn't get in. Why? Because they had too low a transaction fee. Because to fill it up, to make the 1 megabyte, that was the limit on this that they could do, had people that were willing to pay higher transaction fees. And it got bid up to the point to where, oh my God, because they had fewer hashing going on, because the computers had gone to Bitcoin Cash was one of the reasons that they go, well, we're only able to get it, every 20 minutes or every 30 minutes or whatever it is that they discovered the thing because the hash power went away. And we're only putting them in there, the ones that pay this amount. This was a minor decision. Why? Because they can. So the way this worked was this transaction right here, of all the transactions, they consciously decided by setting their machine of, I only take the ones that pay this. Now, when it fills up and it's done, if they keep doing that. When it doesn't, all of a sudden the traffic, the volume goes down, then what happens? Well, then they'll take anybody. They'll go to the mempool and just throw everybody in there. The price starts going down. So that's what happened. When this went on, but keep in mind, there's two different things. There's SHA-256, where this target number is for this difficulty up here, of where the monkeys throwing darts are going to hit that target number. And because there's so much going on, it's itty bitty living space here, and you extrapolate this line here to 0, is this down here, it keeps moving down and down and down, down to where it gets to the single number of an integer of 1. It you have to guess how many times fast the computer can do that, if ever. They always say and never, and it will never, and it always and never, and then quantum, and then it's tomorrow. Okay? So then you have the totally separate thing, which is this. SHA-256 creates this digital pair below down here that we're looking at on this BIP 39 thing. This is one of the digital pair in a wallet that is created on this line. SHA-256. You have variables go like this. This is the public key. This is the private key. And you have to have the private key over here to be able to access this over here. But this is the public that you can spend into because it's tied, entangled or whatever with this number. So which number do you need? Well, does having this number help you find this private key number? I don't know. Probably not. At least they know that it's there, or it unlocks something, or you know which one you want to get or something. I don't know what benefit you get from having the public key, or they wouldn't make it public. But there's half of it right there. Ooh, there's a 100,000 Bitcoin over here. Guess what I want to do? I want to find this number. If I have a computer that is fast enough that do this other one, all of a sudden I can discover, I get down here, I got processing power and it's an ASIC for finding private keys and not an ASIC for discovering the lower target number than. There's two different things. You could have an application-specific integrated quantum, whatever the hell, that goes and finds what? Private keys and tests. And I guarantee they're doing that right now just at a random. And at some point, it's going to get cheaper, and there's going to be enough accounts on this atoms in the universe. There's going to be billions of people here. I mean, it's an insignificant little blip in the universe. How difficult is it to find this private key randomly and hit something of value? It's probably still really, 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 really hard to the part. They won't say impossible, but they go, it's really, like you're not going to do it, which is one of the reasons why in every public key over here, you want to have $5. You want to have nothing. It ain't worth it for them doing it. But if every guest costs them 13 cents and they're averaging $1, then they keep doing it. But that's why it's all because it costs too much money to try and find these private keys for what the reward is that's over here. And the smaller the amount in each one of these digital pairs in your public wallet, the less likely them mining or looking for this private key to sweep it is worth. So that's why you don't want to have one that's big and just keep putting it in there. Even though it's infinitesimally different and it doesn't make any difference. Either they're going to do it or they're not going to be able to do it. But this was what gives Bitcoin and wallets its security. It's such a big-ass number of atoms in the universe. It's not like, a grain of sand on the beach. It's not a grain of sand on every beach. It's not a grain of sand in the ocean, the whole earth. It's not every atom in every grain of sand on the earth. It's every proton or some shit like that. I mean, it's such a big, unfathomable number that's what gives it security until quantum comes in and it doesn't matter about your big number. That's what I'm worried about. I don't know. There's math, and some people say, you go 1054 and quantum speed up. And I go, really? All right, well, we'll see. But they are worried about what's happening now. What's doing with the ASIC. So with 256 is not strong enough. Because I remember when PGP, pretty good privacy, was all the rage in the Liberty community in the early 90s, and it was 128 or something. Oh my God, it went to 50. Oh, it went to 512. So each time you do this, when you go to 256 to 512, it is not double. It is to a magnitude of a gazillion, because every number integer is doubling each time. So 257 is double 256. 258 is double all the way up to 512. We're talking big ass, multiple atoms in the universe kind of crap. There is no number you can come up I can't double. See my point? So it's just with one more time and multiplying it times 2. That's not that hard. I just need a display on my computer to do it. So how many, digits to pi? I mean, that kind of crap. So this is how my understanding of it works. 256 is two separate things. Guessing of the target and all numbers below that, and how many guesses they can do to do that. They keep moving that line all the way down till it's fewer and fewer numbers to get. That's what happens. And then when they do the difficulty up, it's because they take it too long to guess. It's 11 minutes, it's 12 minutes average over the 2 weeks, so they reduce the number. But in general, the trending is that it's getting more and more difficult. Sure as shit was a year ago. So I'm going, all right. So now you go, all right, the other part of 256 is the digital pairing. The public, that you spend into, and the private key that controls it. How difficult is it to find that private key that marries up to a public key? Because you get, I can do it right now. I look right here on the BIP 39. There's private keys right there. Boom, 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 boom. I'll go like this and give my phone. I'll sweep that right now and see if there's something in there. I just do. I sweep right now. Is there anything in there? Nope. Donna, where's my phone? Look and see if my phone's on her desk over there. You know, I take my phone right now, and I'll just go and sweep this. Everybody on the screen, go sweep it. You beat me to it. So screw you. I'll go to the next one. But so I go here, and I got the private. Well, he's going to get my phone.
I don't see your phone.
Yeah, that's all right. Donna, freaking. But the hell, man, it's my phone. Maybe she was answering it or something. Nah, don't worry about it.
Yeah, all right, we got to wrap this up soon.
That's a good explanation. This is nobody ever gets this explained to them. Nobody. The SHA 256, two different things. One is the target number, and the leading zeros. I go, what the hell does that mean? It means leading zeros. I go, what does that mean? Show me that piece of paper. They don't know. They're just repeating what some guy told them. And I'm grandpa, and no, I don't know enough to ask the right question. So somebody freaking explain it to me. So how far off am I? Did I BS anybody? Is this totally wrong?
I don't know if it's totally wrong. I mean, it's generally correct, but I didn't look into that either, right? I outsourced this stuff to engineers.
No, when we had the guy from New York, what was his name? The French guy that was in Harlem or whatever, that he was covering Morpheus. He went around. He was opening bordellos in New York City. He had all these people taking Bitcoin. They did the Bitcoin license thing and shut down. He was kicking ass. He was selling phone cards for Bitcoin, getting them to take it. It was, he was exactly who they were going after. What he did is he did a video, and he came in, he went and talked to Morpheus's lawyers, explaining this on how you could do it on paper. He goes, SHA 256, here it is. You do this, you multiply this, you add this. He goes, you can do it there. You can do it yourself with, paper and pen, pencil. He's like, here, I'll show you. This is what it is. But nobody explained that. Nobody was saying why.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I'm not qualified to say if you're wrong or right. I can, on this. Now, what I can say is, sure, Bitcoin Cash forked Bitcoin. They took some of the Bitcoin hash power onto their chain. So obviously, by taking some of the Bitcoin hash power, you slowed down how quickly Bitcoin found its blocks. Now, there's no innovation. What they did was they knew that if they kept Bitcoin's code of adjusting the block every 2 weeks, they would never find a single block, ever. They were not going to have enough hash power. It will take them 8 years to find the first Bitcoin Cash block. So their solution to actually getting a transaction was to say, we're going to adjust how quickly the difficulty changes every 6 blocks, instead of every 2,144 blocks or whatever it is, the average number of blocks every 2 weeks, right? So it was a hack in order to adjust their difficulty faster. That's not better or worse. That's what they had to do to keep their coin alive. Yeah. My point is the ability for them to make that change.
It had to be accepted?
No.
So miners said, no, we ain't doing that. Screw you.
No, miners just did it.
Okay. So then I guess they accepted it.
Yeah, because
okay,
and that's
your point.
My point is when a small group of people can make any change that you like, the majority of people will not trust that crypto as a store of value or the properties of being unconfiscatable, being censorship resistant, all the properties that matter. Because if they can make any arbitrary change to make your transaction go faster, they can easily make an arbitrary change to confiscate your money.
With the cooperation of the miners and users and everybody allowing it to happen.
The problem is there's no users. There's
See, you keep. I tell you how I knew about
it's just
this.
miners.
Okay, let me tell you. This happened.
It's
with
miners
Bitcoin.
and 3 economic
This
nodes.
happened with Bitcoin. In the early days, I remember they going, oh, they had to hard fork it and fork Bitcoin because it had this bug, and kind of we fixed it, and by the next block, and kind of go, who's we? So that's why I'm drilling in on Andreas Antonopoulos. We were doing an interview, and we were in Florida at a thing, whatever. And I'm going, Andrea, you got to explain this to me. What the hell are you talking about? Oh, we fixed it. It wasn't a bug. It was a feature. What? You could change it? I go, who the hell changed it? How did it get changed?
What are we talking about?
In early days, in like 11, 12 or something of Bitcoin, there was some code problem, some main.
Yeah,
thing
somebody created 11 billion Bitcoin.
Yeah, whatever it was. They went, whoa, we got to fix that shit.
Yeah.
So they go in and they fixed it. And I'm going, who fixed it? That's how I found out about the developers and the mine and how it gets done. I'm going, well, shit, you just mapped out how they're going to screw us later. And you're going, no, that doesn't happen with Bitcoin. It's only the scam coins. I go, bullshit. That's how I found out about it. It was on freaking Bitcoin.
Right.
What's your point?
But that was different.
Oh, you're killing me.
Well, but you don't understand why it was different. That's the problem.
I'm saying that there is a mechanism by which people make changes but still has to be allowed or adopted or whatever by other people. You don't like the other people that did it. You don't like the people that said it was okay. You don't like the miners that were even doing Bitcoin Cash to begin with. You don't like the fact that they, deliberately ducked and, the flipping, almost happened until.
No, it was never in danger. Bitcoin was never in danger.
You were shocked as shit that Bitcoin Cash went to 600-800 or topped out at like 3. Hell, Bitcoin Cash has been as high as Bitcoin is now.
I was so happy that I broke into a private key that I had no intention of breaking into to sell that thing as soon as possible. I sold all of my Bitcoin Cash for 0.1 Bitcoin. So I increased my Bitcoin holdings by 10%. I did that 1 week after the split. Yes, the value of Bitcoin Cash went as high as I think 0.25 or 0.3 Bitcoin. So I certainly could have timed it better if I didn't rush. But right now, the value of a Bitcoin Cash is 3%, not even 10% that I sold it at. It's at 3% now. So basically, as far as Davi's backup plan of hiding private keys, he lost 70%. At least you lost at least 70% by holding the Bitcoin Cash alongside Bitcoin as opposed to just Bitcoin.
The catch is that Bitcoin Cash didn't exist before, so whatever Bitcoin Cash is worth, it's more than the Bitcoin.
Right.
No, but
Bitcoin Gold.
Well, wait a minute. But when you hid the keys, Bitcoin Cash already existed. So you had to make a conscious choice whether, let's say it's 1 Bitcoin each, right? Let's keep the math simple, right? Okay. Let's say you hid 1 Bitcoin and 1 Bitcoin Cash.
Sure.
Okay. Now, if I knew you were doing this, what I would have told you is immediately sell the Bitcoin Cash and hide 1.1 Bitcoin instead. Now,
I hear you, but
that's what I would have.
The purpose of the experiment.
Well, no, but what was the experiment?
To watch them both in parallel.
Well, right. Sure. That was the experiment.
I speculate at what point they would flip, if ever.
Right. And I would have told you the answer is never. Now, you would not have believed me, and you decided to do an experiment
we don't care.
to prove it.
We'll find out.
Right. We've already found. My point is, we already found out.
I never believed nor disbelieved you. It was an experiment.
That's fine. That's fine. Now, me as a non-qualified financial advisor, what I would have told is immediately sell the Bitcoin Cash, hide 1.1 Bitcoin, because in the future it's going to be way more. By not doing that, you currently have 1.03 Bitcoin instead of 1.1. Yeah. Now that...
But isn't that interesting? Like whatever value Bitcoin Cash has came from essentially nowhere because the Bitcoin all still exists.
That, again, it's maybe interesting to you. It's not interesting to me. To me, what's interesting is having a safe store of value.
Yeah, well, Bitcoin is still that.
Right.
Sandy.
So once again,
well, sort of. To whatever extent Bitcoin is a safe store of value, some people have lost their hats on it.
Relative to what?
Relative to when they bought it
at 18,000.
No, but relative to what other currency?
Well,
I don't know. There's not a lot of currencies that drop that much.
If you were holding $18,000 in dollars at the time, you would be better off now.
Well, sure. Relative to the U.S. dollar, it has dropped.
Or gold or silver or whatever. I don't know.
But relative to the altcoins, I don't believe that it has. Now, Ernie, so since you brought up Colin, what's his last name? What? Colin Cantrell, right? Since you brought up
Get up to the mic, I can't hear you.
Since you brought up Colin Cantrell, I pulled up his coin. So here's his coin. When was that conference? When was the Nexus conference where they paid for Ron Paul and you were there and Roger was there and like?
Oh, it was August 17, and it was. It's gone as high as what?
I'll tell you right now.
30, 50.
No, I'll
$1.60.
Yeah, I'll let you know right now because I'm looking at it and I'm screen sharing with my audience. So that was approximately August of 2017, right? So in August of 2017, his coin was pretty hyped up, probably because of the Nexus conference.
Get on the mic.
At the end of August of 2017, the price of the coin was $3, approximately $3. It was hyped up because of the conference. Now, after the conference, that coin ended up dropping to just under $1. And then in 2018, it pumped all the way to approximately $11. So the coin was $11 1 year ago on the first week of January 2018.
Went up more than that.
It was $11. Today,
$12.
Today it's 35 cents.
Yeah, but it's recently as low as 26 cents.
Right. So his coin has fallen from $11 to 35 cents. Now, I am expecting that very, very soon that project will completely die. And that's what I said before, back in the day when we first interviewed Colin, like back in early 2017, when his coin was like number 40 on the charts. His coin is now number 160 on the charts. I have an interview with him as well. It's on the Bitcoin Uncensored YouTube channel, where we basically try to explain to him why he's wasting time running a project that's going to die. And it was obvious to us then, it's just as obvious to us now. So here's a coin that...
What project? How much do you know the details of what he's doing?
Of Nexus?
Yeah.
It's irrelevant because he's created a coin that is functionally useless as money.
Wow.
Because it's one guy creating one coin that makes all the decisions. It's one guy printing money.
See, okay. I just defend Colin a little bit here. There's a lot to do with the innovations and communication of nodes that you have in space with the CubeSat. His father has a vector launch systems. My neighbor across the street works for him. There's a whole bunch of other stuff going on. The big thing that I remember him calling me this summer from Canada, and what had happened is the people that developed the internet, the TCP, HT, whatever the hell, they created the internet protocols. So they bring in all these government hacks and employees and work for the department who gives a crap. And they said, we need an internet 2 point something that we could have more control over. You guys created this internet that we can't get, wrap our heads around, and people are just like being free and shit. So we need something. Of course, they threaten them with, but this will happen and that'll happen, and bad actors of damn crypto, and we need to have a new internet that we can have more controls on. And because what they want is a licensing. They want you to, you didn't get government permission to transfer or receive those ones and zeros. So that's what's common. So here comes Internet 2 point, the crown. Well, he goes to all these guys and talking to them, does a presentation. He goes, look, Nexus has the capacity to do this, this, and this, and we can do this. But all of this that we're doing here, we can interface at that level of what we have in security and the private and all this other stuff that we want to do. And we can interface with the old internet by doing this. An interface protocol between the two and it solves all your other scaling problems. It solves all this other stuff. And they went, holy shit. They said, we your new best friends. So when they did the Nexus conference here at the Phoenician, just Davi and I went. It was like, what, September, October, or something like that. We go there. Here's the Cisco guys. Here's the big brainiacs of the big company, the big server. The holy shit, we love us Nexus long time because they have fixed our scaling problem on the internet, the security to fix, and it's internet 3-point kiss my ass. And it had absolutely nothing to do with the Nexus coin. It was where the money went and the developers and the goal that he has for Nexus that the coin is a part of, but that's not their main goal. It's just like with MadeSafe or with Horizon. Their idea is so much bigger than whether they're your scam coin or not. There is a whole entire new internet that's coming, a way of pirate communication that can or doesn't have to interface with the old system. And are you going to be using satellites for the transfer of ones and zeros, how that's going to interface with the new internet, what kind of security you're going to have, blah, 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 blah. I've been following this for a lot longer than you think.
So here's my view on this, right? If he is able to provide and build a better internet, that's fine. My point is, the reason why he had money to pay for Ron Paul to show up at that conference is because he printed his own money the way Davi did back in college and convinced a bunch of people for whom it was not in their economic interest to accept it. I know you disagree. He convinced a bunch of people for whom it wasn't in their long-term economic interest to buy.
Their catalactic interest.
Exactly. Catalactics is I get to decide what is of value to me. I never thought that my MadeSafe coin. I tell you what it is. I got, I just tell you straight up. I got like 6 Bitcoin worth, and I was only going to get 2. And then I think 2 of the 6 is Tim Fry's. And it may be 3. I go look at an old email. I got to find an old drive what our agreement was, but it doesn't matter. So at least a third or a half of these MadeSafe coins are Tim Fry's and mine. So I paid, I don't know what it was. It was 6 Bitcoin at whatever the hell it was back then.
Well,
and now I go look at it, and it's like, hey man, I could sell it right now for $20,000. And I go, okay. But I didn't do it for that. I did it because I wanted to demonstrate it was of catalactic value to me, that I keep saying on the show constantly, to demonstrate a free market support for the idea, for the concept. Well, then what happens? They collected $7 million in 5 hours. Boom, it was done. It's supposed to be 3 months funding thing, and it happened before I even got off the freaking plane. And then what happens? Filecoin comes in. It's the biggest ICO up to that time ever, almost $300 million in like no time. Why? Because there is a free market demand for these promised features. And it's the same thing with Horizon, the same thing with Nexus. I will give them money so they can go and rip me off so everybody can see, hey, man, you promised this shit. Did I do it with EOS? No, because I wasn't as confident with these guys and the people and the philosophy of. So you're going, I got ripped off. And I'm going, I don't think I did. Why? Because I have a different value structure than whether the price of the coin is what you think it was. I wasn't investing in the price of the coin. I was investing in the promise, the concept, and the people. And do I get paid off on that? I already did. It's like I go to the movie. We went to see Aquaman, and I'm going, am I going to be disappointed or not? They didn't even get the first 5 minutes. They didn't get to the Aquaman coming up, and I already felt like I got my money's worth. I'm going, I'm good. I'm just going to sit back and enjoy. I already got my money's worth. That's how I feel about these. Am I allowed to feel that way?
Sure.
Thank you. I'm sorry, Davi, what were you going to say?
Yeah, Davi, and then I'll finish my point.
I mean, I just wanted to point out, like, it was in their economic best interest. The businesses that took the Norton dollar benefited from taking it because I was going around campus promoting my own magazine and effectively advertising them for free by saying that it was accepted there, which meant that students took $1 of mine, went down and bought a $3 hot dog from them, and gave them $2. And half of them brought their friends that didn't have any Norton dollars at all. So, like, it's a promotional tool. Yeah, a loss leader, exactly. So, like, there's more to, like, economic benefit then how sound of a currency.
Yeah, I go to
it
Harbor
is.
Freight. I'm getting free all kinds of crap as long as I buy some crap. And they get me in the store. I can't walk out of there without $100
And I
crap.
mean, we ended up doing, like, by the end of this whole experiment, we had a weekly meeting at that hot dog stand that was, like, dozens of people. So, like, they made a lot of business off of being someone willing to
Scam.
take the risk of taking an obviously scam currency.
So part of this, Nexus will also
So you
went
admit
in-
you are running a scam currency,
Well, I mean, it was
which
There
is
was-
something I want Colin to do.
it was not a scam in the sense that it wasn't like backed explicitly by anything. I used to joke that it was backed by information because you could buy magazines with it. But like
Yeah, it wasn't
everything
wasn't
that
fraud.
it wasn't fraud. It was everything that I said it was.
Absolutely. Free piece of paper. So this is so when I look at the Nexus, the chart, all that stuff doesn't really matter to me.
Well,
I got
so here's why it matters to me, Ernie. Again, I'm trying to explain. Like, if they have some kind of, if there's good coders and they're smart coders and they can code something that is going to benefit the world, great. What bothers me is the fact that they have to print their own money and sell it, and people that bought these coins where I knew for a fact this coin was going to go to zero, this coin is going to go to zero. So to me, anyone that was hyping this coin, anyone that printed this coin because it was so obvious that it's going to go to zero, it's these guys printing their own money for their own benefit, and it's irrelevant if their technology is good enough or not. If their technology is good, you don't have to
It's
print your own
called
money to do it.
freedom. I mean, what are you saying? I got to go. That was the whole thing. The government shuts down on ICOs. You're so freaking not allowed to do an initial coin offering because you're getting shitloads of money to go be free and shit, and you're not allowed. You're not allowed. And I went through this with T0. There goes Patrick Byrne. He comes on the show. He breaks it on the show. He said, hey, man, we're going to do this, and T0 means that, and the guy, whatever. He goes to all these different conferences. I see him at different things. He comes on the show on a regular basis. He's like, yeah, we got this T0 thing. Word out. And I go, I want to do that. I want to support that. I want to do that. Just like for the same reasons that I support these others, I go, I want to buy into your thing. Let's go do it. How do I do it? Well, you go to this place. I go in there and they go, yeah, but you got to show that you're a sophisticated investor, whatever the hell that means. You got to have like hundreds of thousands of net worth, and you got to be able to do this and buy into that and qualify for the whatever, and not me. And I know this thing is going to, or at least I'm willing to support it, or I'm willing to pimp it, or I'm willing to throw my money at it just because what the hell. And I'm going, but I'm not allowed. Because the crown goes, you are the wrong kind of person. You're not in the club. You didn't do it right. You're not allowed to give your money to this project because the crown said. And I'm like, fuck you.
Okay, I got one last attempt to say my point. You are against the government printing money, correct? You would rather be on the gold standard. You are against the fact that the government can print as much money as they like.
As they want. They just can't make me use it,
Yeah, it's the
which is
legal
what they're
tender
doing.
laws. They can print all they want.
I don't give a shit what they do. Hell, they're not even the one doing it.
But yet you're somehow for every single person printing as much money as they like of any money.
They do it how they want.
Just want to make that clear.
No, but you misunderstood the point entirely. The point is the legal tender laws, the ability to force people to use it. None of these cryptocurrencies are forcing anybody to use them. They're all market-driven prices.
Where the control comes in is the exchanges.
Yeah.
Where they exchange. That's what gives something. Oh, we got listed
And
on
this
the
is-
exchange.
and
then here comes the government.
Ernie,
They go, oh,
and
you're
this
not
is
allowed.
this is where people like me get demonized by people like you who try to explain from an economic and a technological perspective why all of these altcoins just cannot survive in a free market.
And I don't care. I want the freedom to be stupid. I want the freedom to choose my determination of what is of value to me. And it may not be that the coin shot up. The fact that MadeSafe is, I don't know, it's like 400%, 500%, 600% more than what I put out. I don't give a shit. I'm more concerned about, are they getting the technology? I just had the guy on last week, haven't been on for months, and it was kind of, we're still a year away from it. I don't know, you're starting to lose my interest.
They're always a
because
year
there's
away.
bunch of other-
MadeSafe's been trying to
there's
do this for
always-
20 years.
I said, you better hurry up because there's going to be somebody else that's going to do it. You better get on it. Better get on it. Better get on it because it's going to happen. But what did MadeSafe do? What was the value of it? It was the first time in the crypto space because they were doing it before crypto. And nobody understood this node thing that they were going to be doing until Bitcoin. They go, oh, you mean like that? That was the big aha moment. And we were in this when I met you. You remember when MaidSafe got up and it was standing room only? People are screaming and yelling. They recognized my voice from me even interviewing them. The tweet, got retweeted like 40,000 times or something. Forbes and Bloomberg are all talking, oh my God, this is the future of. That was the win. Not the price of MaidSafe. It was the fact that they demonstrated there was a big, giant, freaking demand for these features. That's what I wanted. That's what I wanted to help. That's what I wanted to show. That's what I kept saying I was doing from the beginning. And I'm going, the reason is because it's going to demonstrate, here it goes. I had the same thing with Zencash before it became Horizon. I have Rob Biglione, or whatever his name was on a year ago, October.
I was here.
Okay, you remember? He comes in, we're yakking.
Yeah, I told him he's running a scam coin, yes.
And of course you did. So we're yakety. I go, look, I just want, a pirate communication. They can't see, none of your business. He goes, well, we got that. And the transaction field, I go, you lead with that. I go, why don't you say that to begin with? I have him on the following May. All of a sudden, I get on BitTrade. I said, look, people, I'm going to go buy this now because I know it's going to shoot up after we're talking. I look back and go, the hell happened last October? They go, it was after your show. And he goes, when you made the big point of you convinced us that there was a market demand for privacy and that Filecoin and MaidSafe and all these other, that on the promise, and we already have it. We're doing it. We have the, zero knowledge proof of the blah, 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 and we just never emphasized it. It was just kind of a side thing. They started in their social media saying, look, we are able to do private messaging, yada, 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 yada. Boom! The coin shoots up. And I go, neon freaking, I told you so again.
Yeah, the coin shot up to $60. The coin is now $4.
Don't fucking care. You know what I did? At $4, I bought more. I said, yeah, So this is, I support it for the promise, the dream, the market demand for, we want this, which guarantee, world, you're freaking welcome. Because let me tell you what's going to happen. These things, these features that Ernie keeps bitching about, because if I bitch enough, I'm going to get it. It keeps going towards that. I go, I don't want to talk to you until you guys are pirate money. So then I get the red pill with Bob Stanley and EO, and they did FreeOS, and they're doing yada, 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 yada. Okay, so you say it. I can take this thing, and I can do this, and I do that, and it's on the ecosystem of it, it's private, and none of your bit. Yep, if you do this, and the tails that it had, yada, 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 yada. So I keep getting closer and closer and closer. So it's at least demonstrates a free market demand for it. And all you're focusing on, Tone, is you go, yeah, but the coin's worth less that's worth less to what. I go, maybe
it's
I just freaking didn't care. I put $100 towards what I did. The same thing with pre-search. Pre-search is kind of how you do the search. I put some money in it, a little bit, a couple $100 or something, because I wanted to be able to have them on the show, and I even roomed with them one time in Canada or whatever it was, and I go, because I wanted to have influence on what they were going to do and offer. I want to show free market demand for what I
have no problem someone pitching their idea and someone else donating their money, but that's not what's happening here.
It's an easy way for me to have some stake in the game, and I want to be able to do it. And you're saying I shouldn't be able to. And I'm going, you got to do
I'm not saying you shouldn't be.
T0 and Patrick Byrne. I'm sorry. You're not allowed, Ernie.
I'm mostly saying you shouldn't do it because that's a way to lose all of your money. None of these guys are doing anything useful. That's one.
Should these ICOs be prevented?
By the government?
Yeah.
Probably.
Okay.
Probably.
So now my option is
to do
T0 and they won't let me.
But that's not.
The government will not allow me to use my money.
I'm not earning.
To go
I am
buy
not.
T0 stock.
I am not.
Couldn't invest in the initial offering. Couldn't.
I am not the dictator of the world to eliminate all the ICOs. The only thing I can do is I can tell people that investing in these things is a terrible thing for them to do.
Then that's where you come in, and I need your help. But you just go, nope, they're all scam coins. Based on what? your criteria, their coin's going to be worthless and I don't like it and Bitcoin forever because it was first. I mean, that's not a valid reason for me. I'm looking to support this technology. How can I do that? What I get, here's money. Oh, and I can get some kind of a crypto thing. Okay, I'd rather that. Give me that. But what's it going to be worth? I don't know. I don't care. I'm not allowed to do that. And when I do want to support something that went legit with the Crown's approval, all of a sudden, somehow I find out I'm not allowed. Ernie, I'm sorry. You're too dumb for or don't have enough, whatever, you're in the club, you're not allowed. And I
because historically 90
don't care. I don't give a shit what you say.
Then I have nothing else to say.
The fact that I am being prevented from doing what I want with my money.
Then I have nothing else to tell you, right? When 98% of these exact projects have historically ended up stealing everybody's money, you end up with laws. Then you can live in a country where these laws don't exist.
I allowed to not care.
Yes, in a country where these laws don't exist. Go for it.
Oh, so you're freaking under the Crown's whip, whether you like it or not.
You don't have to live here. That's the point, right?
Right to the Traveler, letter Captain Mark.
Yeah.
Go read that.
So apparently Norton Coin is already a thing.
No shit.
Yeah, I found it. It looks like a scam. But
I wonder why.
Here's what makes me think it's a scam. I went to their FAQ. I'm like, what is this different? What's different about this? And it says that it says essentially that the transactions are verified by artificial intelligence. I'm like, what does that even mean? But then one of the FAQ questions is, can U.S. citizens buy Norton? And
is it a crypto?
Yeah, it's a blockchain, allegedly. But the answer to can U.S. citizens buy Norton is only accredited U.S. investors can buy Norton.
Oh, see, God. I'm so sick of this crap.
So I can't buy it because I don't have a license to buy it.
This is so ridiculous, man.
So you can't buy the scam coin that you invented.
I didn't invent this. Somebody else invented this. It's just other fans of Emperor Norton, man. Emperor Norton is a cultural phenomenon in California. There's a whole subculture around it.
All right, guys, I gotta end this.
No, we're good. But I'm hoping the audience. I get animated about this. Tone freaking frustrates the crap out of me because he's looking for. I don't know what the hell he's looking for. I'm looking for freedom. I'm looking for the option.
I'm looking to educate people in their best financial interest.
And it's not having the Crown telling you what you can.
But you don't have a license to do that.
Ooh.
I don't have a license to manage their money.
Yeah, where's your shiny badge? All right. So this is I'm glad we get to do this. I don't care if you guys don't like it, turn it off. I don't give a shit. My thing is that this discussion is very informative of where the line is, even in the space. In the crypto space, there are people that came at it, a lot of them, like Davi and so on, doing the Darth Vader thing in San Jose early on with the venture capitalists going, I wish you guys would go away. We think wide adoption is going to be compliance and the sword of the king being put on our shoulder and enlighten us or something. And I'm going, no, it's just easy use and doing what you say and don't commit force or fraud. I mean, that's my criteria. But they go, no, you're doing that and it's wrong and you lost money. I'm going, man, what makes you think I lost? What do you think my criteria? That's why we focused on the word catalactics. It's not economy. Economy is house budget. That's what that means. Well, I don't live in the Crown's house, and it sure as hell ain't my benefit. It's for theirs. So, of course, they want to control the economy because it's their economy. Catalactics is where I put value at the point of where I spend the money. When the person buys wholesale, retail, whatever. The price is fixed based on whatever the hell you what this is worth. It's what somebody will pay for it. That's what it's worth. And that's what I want. I want to be able to buy whatever. It's artificially done when the Crown gets involved. You got all this regulatory, this, that. I'm not allowed to be stupid. I'm going, if I'm not allowed to be stupid, I'm not free. So I don't need anybody telling me, you're too stupid to do what you're. I go, based on what? Well, based on the price of the coin in the future. I go, what makes you think that was even the reason I did it? And why do I got to pick that reason? And how am I evaluated on that reason? I got 15 gazillion other reasons to demonstrate why I did it. Did I win? Not? Yes, no, sometimes. I get to decide. You get to decide. Go Pirate. Peace.
Bye, guys. Tone Base out.